Don't miss out on anything. Stay in touch with Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7 on social media. Welcome to Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston. Co-hosting Sports 56 Mornings is Anthony Sane. Here are Peter and Anthony with Sports 56 Mornings.
Well. If it isn't all of you out there listening and watching us, well, nice to see you guys this morning.
Great to see you all, as a matter of fact.
And by see you, I mean assume that you're there and not actually see you at all.
Right.
Or hear you, but assume that you're there. But it's nice to assume that you're there.
I can feel the people's energy, man.
Ooh, that's right.
Over the radio waves.
So
I know that they're there.
Alive and well.
Yes, sir.
Welcome in, everybody. This is Sports 56 Mornings. I am Peter Edmiston. He is Anthony.
Yes, it is Anthony Sane. Rough night last night, brother.
Ooh, I can only imagine. When are we going to get our kids to introduce us on the show?
Yeah, man.
Down in the bubble.
Yeah, we doing this wrong, bro.
I know. We got to get our kids to introduce us because that was pretty awesome.
Anthony effing Sane.
I can't imagine what my kids would say.
Yeah.
I think they might possibly say just daddy or something to that effect.
No,
there you go.
He'll probably call while he's on the toilet. That's one of his things he kind of likes to do. I got him an iPad a couple of Christmas ago, and he feels the need to FaceTime me while taking a dump often. So, yeah. Whenever he can make time for his dad, I guess.
Please don't. I mean, I love to hear from you, buddy.
Right.
Nice to see you, but wait just a second. Finish up there and then
that's his thing.
Get back to me. We've got plenty to discuss. We're going to find out why Sane is upset. Or did you say sad or mad?
Man, I didn't get much sleep last night at all.
Oh, okay. We got to hear about Sane's craziness. We got a lot going on the show today. We got the Hatchet Man, Rob Fisher, joining us 9 o'clock. Rumor on the street is we may have another guest at 8:30.
Yeah, trying to work that out.
Okay, we're just gonna work behind the scenes feverishly to confirm.
Yeah, early morning radio is kind of tricky.
You never know.
Guys might oversleep on you.
That's right.
It happens. So yeah,
it would have happened to you probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Set your alarm this morning.
Exactly.
So if you want to get in touch with us, you can 67129 on the First Bank text line, 360-8255 on the First Bank phone lines. We'd love to hear from you. However you want to get in touch with us, we're on Twitter at Peter Edmiston, at Sane Asylum, at Sports56WHQ. You could stream all of our content there if you want to see me and Sane and Zach, who we'll talk about momentarily, in the video stream. Then please feel free to pop on to any of the streaming video outlets that you got out there, your YouTubes, your Instagrams, your Periscopes, your Twitters and such. Man, there's a lot of options for you. So please feel free to do all of that. We'd love to get in touch with you. Now, I wanted to, before we introduce Zach, before we do anything else on the show, before we get too goofy, then I want to go ahead. I want to say before we get too deep into the show, want to send condolences and thoughts, prayers, support, all that stuff to our friend Mike Wallace of Grind City Media. Mike is a colleague. I know we know him well. One of the nicest, truly one of the nicest,
genuine guys,
classiest, genuine people. We like to goof around and have fun with Mike, and he's a funny dude. But he's a really strong family man. Oh yeah, religious man. And he lost his wife yesterday after a short cancer battle. T. LaShawn Wallace. Just an awful story.
Yeah.
Awful to hear about. And so I know. Oh man.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Mike's a true mentor to me. just been in the game for a long time, and to that's a terrible loss to lose your mate. And I'm sure they've been together for a while. They have
21 years.
They have small kids.
Years.
Yeah, they have small kids, and
they've got big kids, small kids. Mm-hmm. They got kids. It's man, I feel awful. I mean, I've known Mike since the very first, long before any of the NBA stuff. Mike worked for the Jackson Clarion Ledger, Jackson, Mississippi, covering Ole Miss. Okay. And so I went to Oxford when I was just getting started. I think I was doing the show with Eli at that point. It may have been Eli or maybe just.
You've done it with everyone in the city of Memphis. So.
There's no need for that.
But yeah.
I lose track, honestly. But it was one of the early shows. I don't know, Eli or maybe Ron. Maybe we're first getting started with Ron. But anyway, went down to Oxford and hung out and talked to Mike. And Mike, and got to know Mike a little bit. At that point, we sat and had lunch and we talked for a little while and just kind of got to know each other. And this was I think he had probably just gotten married to her just 2 or 3 years prior, because it was back in 2003, I think, when we did this. Even then, man, I mean, Mike's genuine great guy. We had him on all the time to talk Ole Miss. I talked to him a lot, during that time. And then he ended up, getting the job down in Miami and going to cover, LeBron and the Heat, which, we popped him up to ESPN. And then, now here in Memphis, back towards, a place that he's very familiar with. And he's just a genuinely great guy. And his wife was such a giving person, very charitably minded. She was all part of a ton of organizations in the area, trying to give back to the community, very involved. And man, just you see somebody that's basically our age, and somebody that you've been married. I've been married, for 12 years, and he's been married for 21 years. That's tough, especially when you're still young, and she was still young, and it was somewhat sudden, all of this. So anyway, I'm heart's broken for Mike, heart's broken for his family. I know she's at rest, and bless her soul. And man, just so if you get a moment, just send a message, some thoughts out, send something out, some love out into the universe for Mike and his family. Very special people, and so
it's rough, man. Losing a mate is not easy, especially when they've been together. That's pretty much sounds like all of his adult life, pretty much.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's a gift to have it, but that makes it that much more difficult when you lose it. So
our condolences. It's going to be go out to his family.
Tough times for him, and condolences to his family, and thoughts, prayers, support. I'm sure Mike will need all of that, so keep him in your thoughts. But blessings up to Mike and his family, man.
No doubt.
She was very special. So before we get too goofy and too off the rails on the show, as we like to do, I did want to send. I know Anthony as well wanted to send messages of support to Mike and his family. Now, that being said, we got to welcome Zach to the show. And we're going to do it. Zach's why are you shaking your head? Don't say no, you can't answer yet. I haven't introduced you, though. That was a trick question. See what happens? Mm-hmm. It's a trick question. See, he's trying to jump in too early. You can't do it. Until you've been properly introduced, you can't do that. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, you know him as the Prince of Whitehaven. You must bow down when you see him. If you ever see him in Whitehaven, you have to bow down. That's the rules. Lord Mayor of Westwood, the Baron of Not Sharing, Deacon of Not Freaking, the Mayor of a Glare on his head, the Duke of the Cucumber,
the Maven of Clean Shaven.
Yep. The Sheriff of the Tariff.
Yeah.
What else we got?
The priest of food with no yeast.
Yeah. Yes. There we go.
There it is.
There it is. You have to always be evolving in this game.
Man.
This game, you got to be evolving constantly. Keep it fresh. That's what I always say.
Yeah. Did you say the Lord of Horde?
The Lord of the. Oh yeah, that's right. No hair, no meat, no share, no feet. Says one time.
I gotta hear this feet story too, man. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh, he's just he doesn't like him, which is okay. He doesn't have a foot thing. He's not Rex Ryan out here, gobbling on toes and such. Oh, come on now. He's Reverend Stacks. He's stacking it all the way up to the very, very top of that church.
Yeah.
Passing the offering over and over and over again. Ladies and gentlemen, he is your friend and ours. Similac Zach, a.k.a. Rack City Zach, a.k.a. America's Soy Toy. Zach Boyd. Now, Zach.
Speak to us, sir.
What's going on, guys?
Good, man.
Yeah, that's kind of tough to follow up. Like,
yeah, that might have been the longest one since I've been here.
Yeah, we've done longer. we've done like 10, 15 minute ones. Just kept rolling.
Just on this man.
Oh yeah, just on it. Just
the next commercial.
The texters, because the texters just they sometimes they get in a rhythm and just you just get overwhelmed, and they're all good. Yeah. Our texters are super creative.
If I could interject, Peter, Zach is wearing a University of Memphis polo golf shirt, whatever you want to call it. It just takes me back to when I first found out who Zach Boyd was. You know, you just kind of like see you're at press conference, you kind of see kids, and you're an African American man, so you know there's other African American kids that are there. And I remember this kid that was there, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. Probably around 21 at the time. It had to have been probably still in school, probably writing for the Daily Helmsman at the University of Memphis. And I noticed this kid, like, man, I see that brother. I see what he's doing. I was covering the Tigers for Tri-State Defender at the time. And I can't remember the details, but I remember because we give Zach a hard time, and Zach is an easy punching bag, and he swings back every now and again. But I remember the day that I realized that he was a punching bag. And this happened at the hands of one Josh Pastner, of all people.
Man. That was a rough day.
Destroyed Zach Boyd in front of the whole Memphis media congregation, so to speak. And
wait, how did I never hear this story?
Yeah, that's when I found out who.
Because I kept it close to the vest. That's
you should have.
Well, because now I got to hear the whole thing.
Of all coaches in college basketball to get owned by Josh Pastner would be the very last one I would allow to.
Yes.
To do me.
Can I speak from my point of view here?
Share the whole story, please, sir.
All right, so here's the thing. So I don't know who they played, but they played some team. They won. Whippy, yippee doo, whatever. And so
winning is hard, Zach. Winning is hard.
Yeah, winning is hard. It's very hard.
Winning is hard. You kind of had Josh like infected you for a second there.
And so my question was, for Josh was because the last game, the late game execution wasn't there, but this game it was. So I wanted to get his perspective on like what went right, what went wrong, or whatever. And I guess he took it as a slight.
So funny.
And he just went in on me.
He went off on Zach Boyd.
Just for no reason. Like it was just like a basic question for him to say, yeah, like I think the team did really well here and there. And he just went all in, man.
I wish you could remember what game it was. I wish you could remember what game it was.
It was after the South Carolina game when it was on the road. I think that was like 2015, 2014. I think that season.
Oh, I'm on YouTube, and so is Peter.
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah,
I guarantee you at the break.
I'm trying to find this.
Yeah, after the break, we will find this soundbite, sir.
Yeah,
we're gonna find this at some point.
Yeah,
so it was after the South Carolina game.
It was the home game after the South Carolina game.
Okay.
And he just went in on me like
home game after South Carolina.
Yes, I don't.
So that would have been like 20. Okay, all right.
Yeah, it was like 2014, 2015, one of those years. But he just went in, and I was like, yo, like, this is not the response I was trying to get you to have, man.
Yeah, we're gonna find that. We might have to save it after the break, because I want to make sure we find this over the break or whatever. You mean the South Carolina win when we beat South Carolina?
No, it was a loss. It was at South Carolina.
Okay.
It was.
All right, we're gonna
Yeah,
find
we're
it.
gonna
We're gonna
keep the show rolling. We're gonna find this clip.
Yeah,
for
we're
sure.
gonna find this because I've got to figure this thing out. I got to figure.
Oh,
this
it
thing
made
out.
Zach famous. Cause I called who did I call? I don't know. I called Jonah Jordan. And I said, Jonah, who is the black dude that got destroyed by Josh Pastner? Oh, I don't know. It's just a kid that goes to Memphis. Josh just chopped it.
Why is everybody dogging Zach out? I love Zach. Zach's the best. Zach, I want you to know if I'd known about this and I'd known you, I would not have tolerated such slander. I would not have tolerated that.
Appreciate that.
Zach, you are family, which is to say that we can poke fun and have fun, but anybody else comes at you, I will destroy them. I will crush them with all of my force.
I appreciate that.
So I just want everybody. I want you to know that.
But I wasn't hurt by like how he was coming after me. It was just
so random, man.
Right. It was like, dude, like that's not what I was trying to set up. But I just handed back the mic to the guy. I'm like, all right, cool. Like we're gonna end it off like this.
Well, all right. Well, listen. We're gonna take a break.
Yes.
We're gonna come back and we're gonna set things up for the show. We're gonna hopefully find this
clip.
I'm on to find this clip. I
got the South Carolina game the date, so now I can pull up the schedule and it's gonna be
it's Nicholls State. It's after the Nicholls State.
Nicholls
game.
State.
I can tell
Okay.
you that. Yes,
Right,
I'm already on that. So
all right.
But so far I'm having no luck. But I'm not messing around. We're gonna find this. So we'll continue. Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7.
Sports
welcome back. I'm Peter. He's saying I can't find. I looked through the Nickel State video. It's not there.
Man. I think Zach put us on a wild goose chase, man.
Yeah. Not at all. Not at
all. He threw us
all.
off the trail just then, I believe.
No, it did. It definitely happened because Sane was there. So
I wasn't there. I just heard about it.
Oh, you heard? Oh,
yeah. I wasn't there.
And that's how I met.
Was it a conference
Sane.
game? I mean, do you remember? You don't remember the opponent?
I don't remember the opponent, but I knew it was after that South Carolina game because I was on the broadcast for it.
But it might not have been the very next game. Is that what you're saying?
It might.
I went through the very next game and it wasn't there.
No, I think Zach trying to play us, man.
No, why would I?
Yeah, I think Zach is. I want to see, and he just went off.
Yeah, it just went off on me. Like the question. Like I said, the question was, how was the late game execution different from the last game against South Carolina to this game? And he just like exploded because I guess I don't know if I was trying to call him out or something about his X's and O's, but I don't know, man. I don't know why.
Well, the game after that was UConn. That was a loss. So
yeah, I'm currently going through the UConn video.
Yeah, so. Zach, we gonna find this joint.
Yeah,
that's right.
This happened. We're gonna find it.
I'm not lying. Like it did happen for sure. It happened.
I don't know. I'm going through it. I don't see any. I don't see any evidence of him going after you.
Oh, he did, though. I know he did. Because me and Jonah laughed about it hard the next day. I was like, tell me the little black dude to be kind of quiet. Like, why he go off on that dude? Like, if all the dudes go off on, what do you go off on that man for?
I know. Because, see, they played Nickel State after that, lost to South Carolina. Then they lost at Connecticut. Mm-hmm. Then they played Temple, South Florida at home. Those were both wins. Was it after a win or after a loss, Zach?
It was after a win.
It was after a win. Okay,
yeah.
maybe it was the Temple game. Maybe that's what it was. That would be the next possibility.
I think that I think it's starting to jog back to me because I think I didn't do like one of the home games in between. So when I did ask him the question,
yeah, he should have went off on you. Talking about a game 2 or 3 games ago. What? He ain't even on that game no more.
But it was sort of fair to me because I was like because the execution down the stretch against Nickel State was fine. Like it was fine.
Oh man, I hear you.
Oh wait, hold on. Okay. Oh no. All right. I think maybe we're founding here.
You think you got it?
Maybe. No, I didn't find it.
Okay.
Man, I thought I was.
But yeah, we coming for you, Zach. There's plenty of commercial breaks.
I mean, like I'm not running for it. I take it. I take.
We're gonna find this. We're gonna find this information.
We're gonna keep it rolling though.
We're gonna make it happen.
Yeah, I take that interview as like a badge of honor, I guess. Like you know, earning your stripes.
Yeah, I got you. I understand. I mean, I will never forget early in my career when I was dogging out Mike Fratello's playoff record, and he called in the show just out of nowhere to go back at me.
Yeah, I remember.
It was me and Ron were on there, and he called the show, and he went back so much that we had to have him on again the next day because we ran out of time. He's like, I'm gonna call back, so he called back the next day to keep trying to go off.
I remember that. I do remember.
And who ended up being right? Me, because that playoff. I mean, that man's playoff record is still terrible.
Right,
but yeah, I went over and talked to him after all that was over, and over at the practice facility. I remember he was surprisingly cool about the whole thing, which was kind of fun. Like in person, sometimes you go in person. If you go on to Josh Pastner in person afterwards, and been like, "Hey, Josh,"
I saw him.
What was up with that?
He was covering the Grizzlies game this season, and I spoke to him. Yeah, and I called him Coach Fratello. I said, "I know that you're not coaching anymore, but I mean, I'm gonna call you I'm gonna call you Coach." But yeah, he's still super cool, man. He's not Asian either. That dude seems like he's still.
Oh no, he's a fashion play. He had a nice car.
We kind of forget about that Fratello era. Like we kind of forget about him in the lore of Grizzlies.
Hubie sort of owns that era of Grizzly basketball. But Fratello was okay for a time, and then he locked Bonzi Wells out of the arena. And that was a whole
wild.
It was a real weird deal.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of hoops, the Grizzlies will have their end of season media stuff today.
King Kleiman speaks
to the people. Talk to your idol.
Yeah, King Kleiman talks to the people at 11 o'clock.
So we'll see what if any news comes from that. The Grizzlies are pretty good at not doing news and that sort of thing, but we shall see. On the court, how about on the court last night? Yep. Both top seeds go down.
Yep, and we were talking
both number one seeds.
Yep,
go down. One of them more surprising than the other.
Very much. We were talking about the parity that the bubble could present. How you could have series that last longer than they're supposed to, and series that end faster than they're supposed to. And we saw some examples of that yesterday with 2 upsets at the number 1 seed with the Orlando Magic beating the Milwaukee Bucks and the Portland Trailblazers beating the Los Angeles Lakers last night. So
yeah, it was those are some wild ones in those series. And now my question to you, so just kind of as a little summary, the first game was Bucks and Magic, and the Magic 122-110. The Magic led for the vast majority of this game, 42 minutes. Yep. And interestingly enough, saying Milwaukee only trailed in the entire 4-game series last year. They swept Detroit. They only trailed for 38 minutes in that entire series. They trailed for longer than that in this game alone against Orlando. Yeah. Orlando, this was no fluke. They were much better. They played better. They played harder. This was a concerning performance if you are a believer in the Bucks. And I don't know, man. This was there was nothing fluky about this. They just beat the crap out of them.
That hometown energy was there, man.
Yeah, they're the home team, I guess.
Do people care about the Magic in Orlando?
Not really. A little bit.
Okay.
I mean, Orlando's like 50% tourists anyway at any given time.
Nobody actually lives in Orlando.
I don't know if anyone I had an uncle who lived in Orlando. He was the only person I ever knew that lived in Orlando. But other than that, Vucevic was unbelievable in this game. 35 and 14, 5 of 8 from 3. Jeez.
Went off.
Giannis was his usual
Vucci Mane.
Vucci Mane.
What they call him, yeah.
That's what they call him.
Underrated NBA nickname too.
It's great name. Giannis was really good. Although, again, you saw some of the limitations down the stretch of that lack of shooting is still going to be an issue for him. Even though he went 3 for 7 from 3, he had some wild bricks late in the game, and there's nobody else that stepped up. Chris Middleton was awful.
Speaking of lack of
Eric
shooting,
Bledsoe,
Chris Middleton's been terrible, man. Like Chris Middleton's been bad the whole bubble.
Well, Eric Bledsoe, talk about a playoff issue.
This is just who he is, though.
His whole career,
he's been bad in the playoffs.
Wow. And it's just the bubble. It shouldn't. This should just be as normal a playoffs as you can. The environment is exactly the same. But you hit playoff time and it ain't happening for him.
Yeah.
That was a really I was shocked at how bad they were. Markelle Fultz, he's what a nice story for him to come back and overcome all the mental and physical issues that he's dealt with. Yep. He's a solid point guard. Now, credit to him. I don't know, man. I think the Bucks are still going to win the series, but they're going to have to play significantly better than that.
Yeah.
Significantly better. That the Bucks performance that we saw from taking on the Grizzlies with that depleted roster, that looked.
That was better than how they played last night.
Yeah, it was.
Do you think they just overlooked Orlando and just came out there screwing around, and then once they got down, it was hard to come back, or do you think they really might be in trouble? I don't think they're in trouble, man. I mean, the Bucks are freaking good, so I don't think Orlando's. I know some teams match up bad against you, man, but I don't know.
No, I think they are. I think they're in trouble. I think they could be in trouble. They are. I think seeing this, I was a little bit concerned because they're last in the bubble. As you mentioned, they've not been very good, really, compared to what you would expect from them. And their defensive numbers in particular have been bad for a while. And they were a really, really good defense for a long time this year. And in the few weeks prior to the NBA shutdown and then in the bubble, it's not been good at all. And that continued. So that worries me because if you're going to try to win shootouts, that's not them. And they won based on having a really good, rock solid defense and then being able to ride Giannis and some shooting. And that formula isn't going to work if you're going to give up, 110, 115, and obviously 120 some odd points. They don't have a potent enough offense to make up for that. So it's a little bit like the Lakers, where you got to play better defense, and so I'm a little concerned, and particularly going forward. Like Toronto, for example, looks like they are very well positioned based on everybody else. Toronto knows exactly who they are, played great.
Right.
So we'll see if the Bucks can respond, but the pressure is definitely on them now. Because if they go down 0-2, and then the Magic going back
they have
home
to go
for
back
game 3.
Home game, yeah. You don't want to go on the road against Orlando. I mean, y'all, you don't want to. Oh, where are they? Oh yeah, you don't want to go. You don't want to go to Orlando down 0-2.
I mean, the Magic are technically in the bubble, but I do have to think it's probably a little more comfortable for them. Now, if the Bucks want to feel good about themselves, just remember that last year the Magic played the Raptors in the first round series, and the Magic beat the Raptors in Game 1 of that series as well, and then the Raptors went on to win the NBA championship. So maybe there is that omen as well. But that game last year was more about the Magic just getting red hot from deep. That did not happen in this game. They shot only 39% from deep. So they just beat the Bucks, like straight up, no problem. Same thing with the Blazers and the Lakers. The Blazers just beat the Lakers straight up. No
outside interference. No none of that. Clean.
It was actually a not that great of a performance.
Oh, the game was
from
ugly
the Blazers. The game was ugly. This is the smallest point total in a Blazers victory this season, and in fact, I think it's the smallest in 2 seasons. They normally, when they win, because their defense is so atrocious, they have to score, in the 110s, 120s, and all that stuff. The Lakers shot 35% against what was a pretty bad defense. They made Hassan Whiteside look good. Hassan Whiteside was the best player on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, he was. He won the game at the end of the game.
I mean,
blocking 2 big
what?
shots.
Hassan, at the end of the game, he's blocking LeBron. He's blocking Kentavious Caldwell. Wham! Speaking
of Kentavious Caldwell Pope, I try to defend that dude because I think he's a decent guard, but
you can't defend him after that.
That dude's terrible. And there's some guys, man. Some guys get
Kentavious
better.
Caldwell poop.
Yeah, some guys get better when they're around LeBron. That's a real thing. But some dudes, man, you just some guys just don't fit into what LeBron does. Like George Hill, been a phenomenal shooter with the Bucks. He was terrible with Cleveland. Jay Crowder was terrible with Cleveland. You know what I mean? Some guys just don't fit well with what LeBron likes to do. But yeah, man, Kentavious Caldwell Pope 1 point.
Danny Green.
Yeah, Danny Green didn't. Terrible. Just a barbaric display.
Well, that was you talk about being concerned. I mean, if the Blazers, the 8th seed, can beat you. And the Blazers only shot 39% from the field, shot 38% from 3, got 34 from Dame, who was good, hit another logo shot.
Fresh off of playing what? They played a game Thursday,
Saturday.
Okay, so it really wasn't that tough, but yeah.
No, I mean it was probably not the best, but the point is they didn't play that well. The Blazers did not play. I mean, I'd say they played, okay. They've got a lot more room to improve. They played a lot better against the Grizzlies. A lot better.
Yeah, and I told people when the Blazers, were looking like they were going to get that AC, I said I wouldn't be surprised if the Blazers gave the Lakers hell. And people, Lakers in 4. All right.
Well, if they can keep Hassan Whiteside on the floor and play like this, then this makes me wonder what would happen if the Grizzlies had played the Lakers.
Yep.
Because I think that against that Laker performance,
man, we'd have won that game last night.
Grizzlies would have won that game last night easily.
Man,
if the Lakers played like that,
man, we'd have won that game.
They would have won that game. Anthony Davis was awful. Yeah. Anthony Davis was terrible.
Have you seen the memes? Have you seen the memes that have came out?
I've seen some of them.
Yeah, there was one where it was LeBron. It was LeBron and Anthony Davis, and then the guy wipes his glasses, and it was Michael Jordan and Kwame Brown with the Wizards.
Have you seen the one where LeBron's on the phone and he says,
"Yeah."
He said, "Yeah, I'm sure that was Anthony Davis walking around without a mask on."
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you can't be 8 of 24 from the field, 28 points, 11 rebounds. It sounds good. He had 21 points in the first half. He was a minus 20, one of the worst on the team. And here's another thing: Danny Green looks 45 years old. I don't know what's happened to him. He's aged 3 or 4 years in the last year.
Yeah.
He was so good for the Raptors in their win, and he looks done.
Some guys do it. Because you got to think about, man, for those older guys, like this is like a whole other season. It's like they're playing 2 seasons in one. Because the season has been very long for those guys. And their break might not have been the best thing for those type of teams, And that's why people were saying if the Grizzlies got the Lakers, it could be a pretty good series, especially if we were full strength, because that Laker team, they're an older team, man. And I tell people, they've got LeBron, they've got Anthony Davis, but they got some serious question marks on the perimeter, and especially defensively. And you got to guard one of the most dynamic backcourts in the NBA in the 7-game series. It's not going to be an easy win for the Lakers, man. I think the Lakers still will find a way to pull it out because you're still talking about LeBron James, but it's going to be tough. And then, LeBron, he still has that groin injury stuff going on. So
he didn't look fully engaged.
King,
But this is how good he is though. At 35. Yeah. Hurt. He still had 23 points, 17 rebounds, 16 assists. First time in an NBA playoff game anyone has ever had more than 20 points, 15 rebounds, and 15 assists in the same game. Like, that's just – he's still unreal how good he is. Yeah. So you could never, ever, 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 ever count him out. But I want to give a special shout-out to our friend Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who played 29 minutes and had a triple single. 1 point, 1 rebound, 1 assist. The first ever triple single in an NBA playoff game.
Yeah, man.
That is you. How can you even, Anthony? How can you play 29 minutes and somehow only get 1 point, 1 rebound, and 1 assist?
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Like that's a special night. That's a special night right there.
And I'm gonna say this, man. Like,
shout out to him.
Shout out to
I'd almost rather have 0.
Shout out to Carmelo Anthony too, man.
Yeah,
I'm pulling for Melo, man.
Yeah, me too.
And I hope that Portland probably won't go too far this year, but I'd love to see Melo catch on with somebody next year and really, be in the hunt to get him one, man. I fool with Melo.
No, Melo. I mean, the thing about Melo that this
shot 27% from the field yesterday, but
yeah, he had a big one late though. He had a big one late.
Big boy trait. Yeah.
He's the thing about Melo though that is frustrating, I guess. Because I watch him here, he could have been doing this. He's obviously in significantly better shape than he's been at any time in the last 3 or 4 years at the various things that he's done, the teams he's played for, the stuff that he's tried to do. He's in, there was a reason why everyone was skeptical about Carmelo. But he, to his credit, he dedicated himself. He said, you know what? I got to get in much better shape. He's actually trying. He's not a great defensive player, but he's actually trying on defense, which is, that's part of it right there. And he looks so much better. He played 38 minutes in that game and looked good.
Mellow.
Skinny Melo, man. Mm-hmm. So it's obvious when you look at him, like, yeah, he deserved to be people. It's understandable that people were skeptical about him. But if they had known they were going to get this Melo, then there would have been 30 teams lined up to go sign him.
What about your boy Wenyen Gabriel?
Hey, man, energy, energy, man.
Great teammate off the bench, man.
Energy, man. And he was. They started him. They said, look, we're going to play the Wenyen Gabriel card. We're going to come out here and he gave. He's an energy dude, and he's not a bad player, but he's just all about doing stuff, like just get after it.
For sure,
got a little James Johnson-y kind of thing, like the sort of chaotic energy of just you never quite know.
Something wild.
Just go out there and do that.
And going back to Melo, he shot 3 of 11 from the field, but he was 2 of 5 from 3. He shot 40% from the 3-point line.
Well, 10 rebounds and 5 assists too.
Yeah,
I mean, he was he was productive.
Now I'm gonna tell you,
the Lakers got a problem here. This is this
because it's gonna be a game where Melo's gonna go off. That's gonna happen. He's gonna have a game where he's gonna go off because him and LeBron are going. They're guarding each other.
If he could beat LeBron, that would be huge for what a legacy topper.
He'd retire. He probably wouldn't even want to finish the rest of the playoffs. He'd retire right there on the spot. Hey, I'm done.
So that's it.
And again, let's talk about now. I want a dog out, and I me and Dame. I'm not
Dame Dollar.
But some of these shots he's hitting, they are more. They're more challenging than some stuff that Steph was doing. Now, I'm not saying he's the same level, but he kind of is. Like, I think if you had subbed this Damian Lillard with that Steph Curry, it would have been fine. the teammates that Steph had were much better than the teammates, with respect to McCollum and Carmelo. I mean, you'd rather, Klay Thompson and
Mario
Draymond and all that. It was a whole different deal. But, dude, he's hitting 37 footers off the dribble, just like off a screen, like stuff that Steph wasn't even doing that stuff. Yeah. I don't know, man. That's, he's shooting outside of 30 feet, so 30 feet and beyond. He's 42% on 50 attempts, not a few attempts.
Yeah, he's doing some crazy stuff, man.
He practiced that. He practices those long shots. That's his game. He went out there to do that, and he does it on purpose. He can hit that shot.
Yeah, Dame's doing some big stuff, man. He was 9 of 21 yesterday, and it is crazy because he did all the barking and yelling, and he was winning games to get into playing. But after they win this game against the Lakers, he's just business as usual. And then he said something about he cut a little dance or something. And he said something about East. What was his act?
East Oakland.
Yeah. It was Oakland. East Oakland's anthem.
Yeah.
It was "Blow the Whistle." The song "Blow the Whistle."
Yeah. And he started dancing.
Yeah, he went dumb for a moment. That's what he said.
Yeah, he said to go dumb, get dumb.
Well, I mean, if you hear if someone were to play, I don't know, tear the club up or something in the middle of a Grizzlies game, and you're from Memphis, you might get a little crazy for a second.
Yeah, and a lot of Memphis rap, there's been a renaissance of Memphis rap lately. So, a lot of these guys, you go on the road and you'll hear, Memphis rap songs played by different artists. You go in the arenas now, so yeah.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. All right, so
I found the audio, by the way.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did.
You did?
I did. I listened to my whole question. I sound very cringy.
Oh, good. Good. That's great. When we come back, okay. When we come back, we found it. Zach, out of the way. Was it Temple?
It was Temple.
Okay, it was Temple.
It was Temple.
All right. Okay. So we're gonna hear. Oh, I can't wait for this. It's exciting.
And that's what made it so funny. It was cringe.
No, wait. Hold on. No, don't do it yet. Don't do it yet.
Because it was a legit question. I was trying to set it up for a legit question.
No. Don't worry about it yet. Just wait.
When we come back, you're gonna hear Zach's press
get
conference
lit up
by Josh Pastner, the nicest coach in college basketball.
Except to Zach.
Lights up, poor Zach. But yeah, we'll be back. Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7 FM.
We are Sports 56.
That's right. Just raw.
Yeah, just
We don't even need to do anything this week. Oh, there we go.
he throw it off.
I thought I pressed it. My bad.
You good?
I thought we'd just come back just pure, just raw.
Acapulco.
Acapulco.
No, I thought I pressed it here, but
We might just do that, Peter. We might just do some pentatonic style.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
10, 9, 8. All right. So without further ado, let's not keep this.
No, we ain't gonna parlay. We ain't gonna prolong this, man.
No BS. For folks that may not know, I do want to set it up briefly. Zach is Anthony brought up earlier about how he met Zach, and it was when Zach got lit up by Josh Pastner, and Josh Pastner's not known for lighting people up, so this is a unique situation. And so we have Zach actually found the audio.
he never did this to anybody. Like of all the press conferences I've been in, he never.
No. You might even think that he saw a young kid and he felt like that was the one that he could sort of bully.
Yep.
Because he couldn't bully some of the big dogs of the market.
Right.
You know, your big boys. He wasn't gonna go after them. So he's gonna go after a young Zach Boy who's in college, just trying to learn his craft. And Zach says you were very nervous, and you said it's very obvious. That you were nervous.
Very. I listened to it a couple of times before we about to play it. I'm
just totally forgot to cut the mics on or
That's
play a return song, anything. So we know you throw it out.
I'm sitting here
The
like,
focus
just
was clearly
say
there.
it. Just say it.
All right, so Texter points out, says, "Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Pastner is gone. You played a role."
Yep.
All right, so without further ado, let's hear this clip as the world was introduced to a young Zach Boy. This is back from 1975. This was back from 2016. So this was 4 years ago.
January 13, 2016 against Temple. It was a 2-point win.
Tough Tiger win. But
Tough.
They got it
very
done.
tough.
And Zach Boyd had some question for Josh Pastner.
Coach, the last couple of games, the late game execution really wasn't up to standard. When going up against South Carolina, you only down 2 points with a minute left. You up basically down 2 points in
well, wait a second. I don't know what you're talking about, because South Carolina, we were down 3 with a minute to go, and they called a foul, which wasn't a foul on Burrell, and we didn't tell them to foul. And then secondly, on UConn, we got up by 1 with 40 seconds. We called a timeout, drew up a play, and we scored on it. We hit a 3. And then today, we called timeout, and we scored again on it. We got to the free throw line, and then we scored again. So I don't know which play you're talking about.
Last 2 games, or the last 2 losses, the execution down the stretch.
Yeah, well, the other thing is they called a foul and on us, and then we came off on the next time down versus UConn. Burrell had a drive, had a good looking shot, he missed it, and then from there we fouled. It was a 3-point game. We didn't get a good shot that we wanted to, and then down here, Burrell throws it out of bounds. I mean, we don't teach that, to throw it back in there. Otherwise, I don't know what the late game execution. If you're talking about late game execution, we've been in every game. We've had chances to win. We haven't been able to finish, and the finish is because we put them on the free throw line, or Shaq hasn't been in the game. I mean, that's been a big issue. Both South Carolina and UConn, Shaq's sitting for over, he's playing 21, 22 minutes, and we can't win at the level that we want to win at if Shaq Goodwin is not playing on the floor 30+ minutes. And tonight we win because he plays 38 minutes. I mean, we're not good enough. We're not deep enough to have Shaq Goodwin pick up any silly fouls and not be on the floor for us. Minimum 32, 33, 34 minutes. Him, Dedrick Lawson, and Ricky Tarrant have to play over 30 minutes every game.
You deserve that, Zach.
That was pretty. You know what? That wasn't bad. That wasn't bad.
You stood up like a man. I like how you did that.
Yeah, you went right back at him. That was fine.
You remind me of the scene in Jackson's The American Dream when Jackie told Jermaine, "Man, I like how you stood up to Joseph."
Well, I guess
I like you came back at him.
Well, I guess I was a little bit more critical of myself because I felt like I could have got straight to the point, and I was trying to be very specific in my answer.
So how would you ask that question now? Knowing being in the game for a while now? It's like, what would you have done different?
Looking at the South Carolina game, you didn't pull it out down the stretch. You get the win, close win here. What was the difference? in this game than the last game.
I'm gonna help you, son.
Okay.
Don't bring up past games like that.
Don't bring up past games. No.
Just say, Coach, you guys executed well down the stretch of this game. What was the difference between this game and the last couple losses you had? That'd have been it. And he would have been.
No, I would have said, Coach.
Yeah, something.
South Carolina was terrible. Let's just be honest. Let's just get down to it. All right.
Your team just isn't talented. Your team is trash.
You played like garbage.
You're not good enough to be.
You got attendances of 5,000 people. No one wants to watch this team play.
Watch Ricky Tarrant.
No one believes in you. They remember that time you lost to CBU. That was terrible.
Yeah.
Talk about what happened at.
Talk about it, Coach.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but good job.
I thought it was fine, and he didn't.
Stood there and you took your lumps, man.
And you know what? He went off, but he went out, and what he said was like.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he was like, I don't know what y'all are talking about. We just didn't execute. He's like, well, that's exactly what Zach was talking about. When he talked about Tristan Burrell missed the shot and then he threw it out of bounds. And we don't teach that. Well, so he threw the player on. You had to throw the player under the bus. Mm-hmm. That was a good. I thought that was a productive session.
Shout out to you, Zach. I'm proud of you, man. You stood in there and you took it.
Yeah, I've been lit into way worse than that. Come on now, that was all right.
But yeah, then he started when you got the.
That was about the worst Josh Pastner lighting into somebody that deal ever.
Yeah, it's just the fact that it was Josh Pastner, bro. It's just unacceptable. I would have had to get him like, hold on, Coach, hold on now.
Yeah.
And this is, and mind you, this is before I met Sane, and then when I finally got a chance to, rub elbows with Sane,
that was the first thing I said. Ain't you to do this?
That was the first thing he said.
Ain't you to do
the first thing.
You stepped up, and I think all the Tiger fans. You know, that's the thing, man. In that situation, especially with the way that team was and the feelings about Josh Pastner, like the Tiger fans would have been on your side. They would have been like, "Yeah, that's right. You go get him, Zach." People demand accountability. I got no problem asking it. We talked about this one last week or whatever it was. I got no problem asking a tough question if it's like called for and if you have the information behind it. Like if it's a legitimate question. Like if you're just like, why are you such a jerk? Like that's not a good question. Don't do that. You know, why does everybody hate you? That's not a good question.
Yeah.
But like, you know, if there's a specific game situation, like you guys consistently haven't performed down the stretch, what was the difference today? That's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, Zach,
I think you did great.
Zach, you broke it down. When you broke down the details, I think they kind of got under his skin. Like, man, you gonna bring that last play up again a week later?
He's like, you're like, well, Josh are down 2. He's like, well, actually, we were down 3, and it was actually Let me pound this podium.
Who's the lead editor for the Daily Helmsman?
You're supposed to be a student at the University of Memphis, and I'm your leader. I'm your basketball leader, and you're disrespecting me.
Who's the boss over there?
It wasn't supposed to be disrespect. It was supposed to like
who's running that show over there?
Who was the lead editor when you were there, man?
I think Josh Cannon. I think he's the.
Get him in here. Get Cannon in here right now.
Who was the student that was over y'all? I mean.
Yeah, Josh Cannon.
Oh, okay.
That was a student, but that was with the radio broadcast, with the radio station at the time.
Get him in here right now. Get him in here.
Take his credentials. I can see him coming in just ripping that tiger off of your golf shirt right now.
You're not a tiger. You're not a tiger. You don't deserve to wear that tiger. Not after this.
How dare you question my coaching of all coaches?
You don't deserve it. That's right. People be happy. People are happy.
Yeah, man.
Zach did that. Good for you, Zach.
You're a hero, local hero.
You're a hero, Zach.
Appreciate it. Like I said, in my mind, I thought it went much worse, but
it was all right. That was fine. That was good. I'm proud of you. Way to go.
You should hear the Tubby interview too.
He got you too?
Oh no, he didn't get me. I just asked a question about Thanksgiving, and that was like the lead quote from pretty much every print media story.
Oh, look at you!
Bet that.
The big man. All right, so hour number 2 on the way. We get hour number 2. We'll talk a little college football. Got a good, intriguing question that we will try to answer. Lester Hudson coming up at 8:30.
Yep,
is that right?
Lester Hudson made a big donation to Shelby County Schools, helping some kids out. He's getting ready to start his season back in the CBL. Is it the Chinese Basketball League? Is that what it is? Or is it CBA or CBL? It's in China. That's all I know.
It's a CBA.
CBA. He's getting ready to go back over there. But he made a big he made a big donation. He's gonna come on and talk with us. Getting ready to go hit the China.
CNN, is that what that
Yeah,
is?
the Chinese basketball plague. But yeah, he's getting ready to do that.
China virus.
The China League. But yeah, he's gonna come on with us, man.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to talking to the
former
Grizzly great, and oh man,
it's going down.
That's exactly right. So we'll talk about that with Lester, and then Rob Fisher's going to join us at 9:00. A whole lot more. We got a busy day here at the Family Leisure Studios. Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7. for hour number 2. So the second hour viewers can get a taste of the magic. See, I could do like a Montrezl Harrell thing and like go back and like kind of get them all like almost sticking straight back. I could do that too.
Yeah.
There's different options, you know. Just depends on
I hear you, bro. Shout out to you.
What kind of mood I'm in. You know, just kind of like that. That looks all right.
Shout out.
We'll make that work. So, hour number 2. We're here. We made it. We made it this far. Let's keep going. Lots to discuss in hour number 2. We're going to have Lester Hudson joining us at the bottom of the hour to talk about his initiative to help Shelby County schools and also what it's like to play
in China.
China.
You know, these guys are great athletes. You know, they're in great shape.
They come to me all the time and they say, "Sir, you're great," and I say, "Yes, that is true."
Thank you for representing our nation over in China.
So we're gonna talk to Lester.
Yes, man.
About all of that.
The COVID killer, Lester Hudson. Yeah, man.
Now we're gonna discuss all that stuff. Now, as far as college football is concerned, we had a little. We've had some situations. We've had some news. We've had some stuff that has popped up. Anthony Sane.
Yes, sir.
Number one, classes at both North Carolina and Notre Dame have been pushed to virtual after both schools tried to start. And now Notre Dame much more responsibly than North Carolina. North Carolina, basically, as far as I could tell, was just out here very, very loose and reckless in these streets of COVID.
Too loose.
Did not enforce a lot of spacing stuff in their dorms. Dorms are basically at full capacity. You know, they were just kind of like, hey, we're going to do whatever we do, and that's just how it is. And that lasted for about 3 days, and then it was like, nope, we have 130 cases. That's not good. Notre Dame was much more cautious. They took much more in the way of precautions with their general student population. They had didn't have any cases that they had tested for in their incoming class, and then all of a sudden they traced it back to 2 parties. Although I'll get into that in a second, but they traced it back to 2 parties, and now they're up towards triple-digit cases, and they've decided to go virtual for the first 2 weeks as well. And you would think that Notre Dame, with they are a pretty stringent academic institution. They might be inclined to cancel football if their kids aren't on campus. They would be one that would, unlike some. So the thing about the testing, though, Sane, there's still a lot we don't know about the testing situation. Number one is one test is not going to necessarily get it done. Because you can test negative while you are in the early stages of actually having COVID. You could test negative for your first 3 or 4 days, and then you just don't have the viral load yet that shows up on these tests. The tests are not sensitive enough to pick it up. So it could well be that somebody had it and just tested negative. That's entirely possible. People are acting like that one test is good. That's why we talk about repeated testing. That's why it's not good enough for these leagues and these college leagues to be like, oh, we're going to test you once a week or twice a week. That's not you can get by that all the time. I have someone that I know who had that very experience where they tested negative and then were very symptomatic and later end up they had it. It's just it wasn't there yet. So I don't get too caught up in like, oh, they all tested. How did this happen? One set of tests is not going. That's why the NBA consistently keeps testing, even though everyone they keep testing because then you don't know. So you have to make sure about all that. Second thing is, everyone's inclined to blame parties, whatever. These are college students.
They're gonna
if you bring them back to a college campus, they're going to do college student things.
Right.
That's on you, the administrators, for having the audacity to bring them back and probably pocket all of those housing costs, by the way, in the process. You want to talk about a scam. They pocket those housing costs. They stay there for a couple weeks and, well, sorry, guys, we got to go virtual. No, can we get that money back?
No,
well, because it is, and you can't tell me That's not part of the gig. You can't tell me that's not part of it. If you as an administrator don't have the cojones to actually call the thing off, you can't be surprised when it goes sideways a week into it when you bring a bunch of kids back to campus. What did you think was going to happen?
Yeah, exactly. The kids are going to be kids. And like you said, these administrators, these colleges, these conferences, they're going to make decisions. It's kind of weird, man. It's such a weird situation because imagine the Memphis Grizzlies or the NBA bubble also being dependent on what people here in Memphis are doing outside of you know what I mean? It's weird because the college players can do whatever they have to do, but the fact that if the school, the campus is out of control, you have to question playing sports. Period. So yeah, it's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough to pull it off. It looks like they're definitely gonna try to force it to happen regardless. But yeah, it's gonna be weird. It's because kids are gonna do what they do. They're gonna chug beer. They're going to kiss strangers in the mouth. It's just all kind of weird stuff happens on college campuses, man. And so yeah, it's probably gonna be more to come.
No, there's definitely gonna be more to come, and you're doing all of this for like Alabama announced, like a lot of these teams, you're trying to announce, smaller capacities. Tennessee announced 25% capacity in Neyland Stadium. Alabama announced 20% capacity in Bryant-Denny. You're chasing like a fraction of your revenues to try to keep a certain demographic group happy, and you're taking an inordinate risk in doing so. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. Like you.
Yeah, it's insane.
It can't be worth the money.
Yeah.
It can't be worth the goodwill.
Because your gate isn't going to be much enough.
You're not going to be able to do concessions. You're not going to be able to do tailgating. So you're not going to have all the stuff that's associated with it. You're not going to have the norms. I mean, this goes back to what I was saying at the very beginning of the pandemic, Anthony. But why? It would be so much better if we all just took our medicine for like 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever, and just basically shut down as much as we possibly could.
Project Pat tried to tell us, man. I said this last week. Project Pat tried to warn America what we should do.
But you keep trying to drip the you can't wait out the corona without waiting. If you're out there trying to be normal, it is not going to work. No matter how much you want it or wish it or claim of this, that, and the there's science is science, man.
When you start talking about this isn't a pandemic, but it's a dim panic. It's just that kind of stuff, man. That's why we're losing. That's why remember the guy got mad last week because we said we were in last place. We're not in last place. We're in 8th place. We're in 8th from the bottom in the whole world.
Like deaths per a million people. Like I don't know. So we'll see what happens with these schools. Appalachian State has had to suspend their football practices because they have multiple COVID clusters that they have found on their team. That has happened in a number of schools that have tried to come back. It is just not it's not as easy as folks think. I think there's another couple other aspects of this too that bother me, Anthony. Number one is people make the assumption that and Nick Saban says it, other coaches say it, these kids are safer in this school environment than they are anywhere else. These kids are safer in this team environment than they are anywhere else. I don't know that that's necessarily true. I mean, that's not true. For example, like you talk about your daughter all the time, Sabrina.
Yep.
She's very introverted, you say. She doesn't like to go out. She doesn't like to do stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. She likes to sit at home and watch anime.
Okay. So if she were playing college volleyball, which you've said repeatedly she could not do, if she were playing college volleyball and she came back, she would be around a team environment or whatever. Her risk would go up significantly.
Exactly.
Because if she weren't doing that, she would just be hanging out, getting delivery, watching anime, being more or less by herself.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way for everybody. And there's a paternalistic assumption to some of this stuff that there's got more than a little tinge of racism that if we don't kind of protect these kids, they're going to run out into the streets and do God knows what, and we're going to do. I don't know if you noticed or not. There's a lot of kids doing God knows what that aren't football players, that aren't anything else. So I think the assumption that they are safer, that's just an assumption. That's probably true in some cases, and it's probably not true in just as many cases. You're not doing this smacks of like, this is our job to save these. No, you don't need to save these kids. They just we all need to stop doing what we're doing for a little while and nip this thing in the bud. Like, just stop it. And we're good. But we keep trying to,
just doing
sort of tiptoe and, crawl our way. No, just stop it. 30% capacity for Texas A&M. I mean, again, I don't. Just that seems so silly to me.
Yeah. But you know what's happening, though, bro. You know they're gonna make this thing happen. If only the SEC plays in the AAC. You think the AAC is really gonna do this? Like, if it comes down to everyone else shuts down, do you think the AAC will stand beside the SEC? Because you know the SEC is doing it. A kid could die on the field, they'll take him, drag him off the field, and put somebody else in. Next man up. You know the SEC don't care. But do you think the AAC will do the same thing?
I don't know, man. I think a lot of it has to do with testing, testing capacity. How much can you test?
Mm-hmm.
We had a question earlier on about, will this, end up, causing reorganization in college football? And it could. It absolutely could. I mean, depending on how quickly and how much it costs, the Pac-12, Big Ten, to do this kind of stuff. What happens if other schools, if other leagues try it and can't make it through? What does that cost them? What happens to these contracts? Yeah, absolutely. Your group of 5 teams, the amount that it costs them to do testing is really, really high proportionally compared to the other schools because they just don't have as much revenue coming in. Does that force them to close up shop? Maybe. Right. I mean, in the most extreme cases, possibly. I don't know. I think we're all kind of waiting to see, what the fallout's going to be in the next year or so. But I think it absolutely could lead to significant change in the landscape of college football, depending on how it all goes.
It could cause.
You can rule that out.
You could. I don't think you can rule out these conferences not only realigning but possibly pulling away from the NCAA altogether.
In the case of the Power 5, some of those, right. Yeah. I mean, you could see that. Drop off completely. That's what I'm saying. There are a lot of weird domino effects that we've seen from COVID that you wouldn't necessarily have expected, but this could be one of them. So I think kind of wait and see. While we're on the subject, saying another thing that's I'm troubled by locally is people have talked about how the case numbers have gone down, which is true. The case numbers have gone down. I think yesterday it was something like 61 cases, something like that. Mm-hmm. But we only had 807 tests returned, or something like that. It was some like small single-digit number, or triple-digit number. And so the positivity rates are still 14, 15%, 10%, whatever it may be. But the numbers of cases, the number of tests that we're seeing returned are significantly lower. So then the positivity case numbers are lower. How is it that we're at this point in the pandemic and where our ability to test is going down this much? We were doing 3,000 tests a day, 4,000 tests a day locally, 2,000 tests a day. How we have a day where we got 800?
I don't know.
900.
Well, we were
that's not. If you want to, I'm not saying there's a conspiracy or anything like that. I mean, this could just be overwhelming capacity. I know you love conspiracies. Yeah. I'm not saying this is any kind of conspiracy, but I'm saying that you can't, if you're only going to test, a handful of people, or if you're only going to be able to process a handful of tests around the area, then you're missing out. You're going to miss a whole bunch. Those numbers are not reflective. The positivity rates are still way too high. So the tests that you do get are still coming back at a positive rate, much higher than you want it to be.
Well,
that concerns me. I don't. It's those numbers aren't legit.
Well, as a follow-up to what you're saying, are we? I don't want this to come off like I'm saying just stop testing, but because people take everything and take it way the other way. But what I'm asking is if there are less people are testing because they have symptoms or something similar to symptoms, right?
I mean,
people aren't just
generally speaking,
Generally
speaking, yeah.
All right, so could that mean that there are less people that actually have symptoms? Is that necessarily a bad thing? Or are you saying because the numbers fell off so drastically, or what?
No, I'm saying because the rate of positivity is still the same,
right.
But the numbers that we have been processing have been down. I don't think there's been a dramatic drop in the amount of people that are wanting to get tested or that are getting tested or anything like that.
So you think it's something happening on the back end?
I think something is happening on the back end.
Where it's taking
or
longer to
from
get,
a processing standpoint, absolutely. I know, you know. So that to me, that's the concern, because you're still there's still plenty of demand and need for testing.
Or not enough
out there.
Or some type of delays. Like you go to a place and it's hard to even get tested.
Exactly.
Because I heard that's been the case too. Like some places are saying if you have symptoms, they're not going to test you or something crazy. I heard, man.
There's been I don't know. We've not the capacity is not up to snuff, and so you know, if I were cynically minded, I would think, well, you know, you're processing fewer cases to make the caseload look lower, but the positivity rate is still high.
So you think
and it's kind of hard to find that positivity
there's some
rate.
finagling going?
Well, it's just kind of hard to find that positivity rate. That's not one thing that's not necessarily released. They release the overall positivity rate over the course of the entire pandemic, but they don't release it on a daily. You have to kind of go and look for that or do that yourself with the data that you have. And those numbers are still, you know, what they've said nationally is that you need to be below 5% before you really start feeling comfortable, and really below, you know, in the 2 and 1%. Like New York right now, as bad as it was for them in the first part of the pandemic, they are now at I think yesterday New York City was under 1%, and they did 40,000 or some, you know, a pretty high number of tests, and they were at under 1% positivity. That would tell you okay, you know what, you can reopen schools, you can do that stuff, you can start thinking about having, you know, a few events and things like that when you have the numbers that low, because community spread is not widespread. You have a pretty good feel for your cases. The problem with positivity rates as high as ours is it suggests that there's lots and lots of cases out there that are not being accounted for. And when you have those cases, then it's, you know, you're out there. When you have to wait, you know, over 3 or 4 days for your test results, no one is going to quarantine 3 or 4 days waiting for test results. So it's essentially useless, other than for you to know for sure that you have COVID or not. But in terms of contact tracing or anything like that, there's no point, because who knows if it takes you 7 days, 8 days, 10 days, 14 days sometimes to get results back. Who knows who you've talked to in between now and then? How are you going to do contact tracing? I mean, it doesn't work. So I don't know. It's frustrating, because I feel like we're not taking that part of it very seriously, and people just looking at the top line number and saying, "Oh, the number goes." But if the testing is going significantly down, then you know you got a major issue. I think it's 81 cases on 600 tests or something like that. I mean, that's 600. No, we got to do better than that.
Yeah, got to do better, man. Immediately.
So we'll see.
Got some breaking news as well.
You want to break it now?
Yeah, I'm gonna break. You want to break it now or after the break?
You break it now. Just go and break it now.
Just found out that I think I play a part in this as well, man.
Okay.
Memphis Grizzlies guard Ja Morant has signed an endorsement deal with Body Armor sports drinks. Some of the most phenomenal drinks I've ever had in my life. Me and Zach indulged in a couple the other day after the show. After our hard show, we had a couple of Body Armors. But yeah, Ja Morant.
What is it about the Body Armor that you like?
It's incredible. Have you ever
had it because of Ja Morant?
No, this just happened today. I just found out that Ja has something to do with it. But I drink one of these at least once a day. Have you ever had one before, Peter Evans?
Never had a Body Armor, no.
Yeah, it's incredible. Incredible, sir. It's if you drink one of these, and I'll put this challenge out to the world. If you drink one of these, you'll never want a Gatorade or a Powerade ever again. Just being honest with you.
You just love it because of Ja.
Yeah. And now that Ja's on it, I definitely would never drink anything else. I won't even drink water ever again.
I bought a couple of them the other day. I bought a couple of Powerade and a couple of Body Armor, kind of just give a nice little balance.
Yeah, fire.
That's the balance right there.
Just a little bit.
Zach, why'd you follow Cam Newton just now?
Why?
Yeah,
because he's the best.
Okay.
Why weren't you following him before?
Well, I didn't. I guess it didn't dawn on me that I wasn't following Cam Newton, so I need to follow him.
Why is it?
Because Cam is that dude.
I don't follow many athletes at all, bro. Yeah. When I say that, people don't believe me. No, I don't. It's especially when I was covering college stuff. I'm not following a bunch of kids and recruits. Man, heck no.
I actually I like Cam Newton. I like his personality, what he brings onto the field and everything. So I was like, you know what? Since I didn't follow him, let me go ahead and follow him.
I see. There's very little reason to follow many athletes. We'll come back and we'll talk to an athlete.
Yeah, got
Lester
Hudson, man.
Instead of on Twitter, let's do it for real.
Let's do it.
That? All right. So when we come back, we'll talk to Lester Hudson, a Memphian, former Memphis Grizzly, and someone helping the Memphis community. We'll do that when we return. Also talk to Rob Fisher coming up at 9 o'clock here on a Hump Day edition. Real
Hump
Sports
Day.
Talk. Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7.
Greg Guest.
That's what I say. And nobody's perfect. Anyway, I don't wanna see something to change my mind. Everything is cool, and I think we're just fine.
Hump Day.
See, what I'm trying to say is,
Yes, sir.
That's right. What do we ever establish the theme for today?
No.
What is the theme?
So I was feeling a little R&B, new old school mix here.
New old school?
Yeah.
Okay. New school, old school?
Yeah.
Okay. Newish, old school sounding?
That's
Both.
This is your boy, what's his name? What's his name, is that?
It's PJ.
PJ Morton.
PJ Washington? That guy's good. I didn't know. I thought he was just a player. I didn't realize he could do this. Good for him. Had a nice rookie year on top of everything else. All right. So saying you, we got us a special guest.
Got a special guest, man. A Memphis basketball legend, so to speak. A grinder. Didn't come in through the front door, Peter. You better respect, man. We got
exactly
Lester.
right.
We got Lester Hudson on the line, former University of. Oh, I'm about to say the wrong school, my guy. I'm about to say the wrong school.
He's gonna hang up on you.
I'm about to say the wrong school. I'm gonna say former Memphis Grizzly, Lester Hudson. What's going on, brother? You doing all right, man?
I'm doing good. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm good, man. Good to have you on, man. I heard you're doing big things. Me personally, I love to see guys who are citizens of the city of Memphis who give back. Got word that you made a nice donation to Shelby County School students. As everyone knows, kids are going back virtually, so they need supplies, and those type of things. And I see that you made a donation to kids. Something you had been doing before was providing haircuts and school supplies for kids in the Glenview community every year, but you had to put that on pause because of the pandemic or whatever. So this time around, you opened up your wallet and you provided headphones to kids. They told you that's one of the biggest needs is headphones for the kids who are going to be in these virtual learning situations, either at school or centers, whatever they're going. But just props to you for that, Lester. And what led to you making that decision?
Oh, man. Me and my wife been going back and forth and see what we can do the last month or so. And we've been going back and forth on what we can do. So we got with our guy, and he told us that the Memphis City schools need headphones. Because I wanted to do the computers at first.
Right.
But he was like, they had got a lot of computers, so they needed headphones. And I was like, of course, I can do that. So we got together and made it happen.
So how does it feel to be able to do those type of things? You're a local Memphis kid, so I'm sure you get the grind. You went to school here in Memphis, went to University of Tennessee at Martin, which is the university you went to, right? So how does it feel?
Both my parents are Martin alums. My dad's in the Football Hall of Fame at Martin. My dad's the Football Hall of Fame Martin, Lester. So I have a lot of love for UT Martin.
Oh, okay. Go Skyhawks. Yeah.
That's right. Let's go Skyhawks.
So how does it feel to be able to? How does it feel to be able to give back like that, Lester?
Oh man, it feels great. I was one of those kids that was not financially stable. Our family wasn't. So I always dreamed of doing things like this. Once I made it, so. It feels great, especially when the kids, like I do the back to school things and haircuts, the kids be so happy and the family be so happy, when you do things like that. So, man, it's a great feeling to do that. And I would just want the younger guys that's under me to start doing things like that. That's from the city that's doing good in the NBA or doing good overseas, So, just try to lead by example.
I wonder, Lester, you were notably part of all of the protests going on in Memphis in the wake of the George Floyd killing and Black Lives Matter movement continuing and is still continuing to be hugely successful around the country. And you were arrested as part of that. And I know that was something that has been you joined a lot of folks in terms of being arrested as part of civil disobedience in the midst of this. Did that have something to do with this in terms of wanting to help out, speak out, and be part of the community in reaching out and trying to help young folks?
No, I'm gonna be honest with you. Black Lives Matter, no doubt. Yes, indeed. But I wasn't protesting downtown at this time. I don't know why they thought I was, but I don't have no comment on that situation. I liked what they were doing protesting. They were doing peaceful protesting and things like that. I wasn't a part of that. You know, I was just downtown hanging out for my uncle's birthday, and they just so happened thought I was protesting. And
so they thought you were part of it, and you weren't.
Yeah, I wasn't. They just misjudged me, I guess. I don't know.
And they just arrested you?
Yeah.
For just for no reason? That's
for no reason. But I don't really want to talk about it. I won't go into too much detail because it's really serious, you know. And this I do this every year, give back to the kids, and I was just trying to find something different this year. So it was a great opportunity for us to give back to the school systems and get headphones.
Well, Lester, back when you were with the Grizzlies, people called you the Kobe Killer for a game that you had against the Lakers back in 2010. You had 13 points in that game, and you dropped Kobe Bryant off in his eye. You hit him in his eye in the fourth quarter in one of those games. What was that moment like, being able to play for your home team, and just what was your total experience like with the Grizzlies?
Well, first of all, I want to say rest in peace to Kobe, the legend he is. You know, everybody love him. The Grizzlies experience, it was great. Man, I think it's a kid dream come true, want to play for their hometown, and then especially one of the best to ever do it is Kobe Bryant, and I'm going against him, so I was very hyped at night, and I just try to do the best I can to help my team win, and I had a decent game off the bench, so man, that was my most memorable moment in the NBA right now, and I had 30-point games, 28-point games, or something like that in the NBA, so that was my most memorable moment, and it was a great opportunity for me to play for my city of Memphis and make the kids in Memphis believe, you know, they can make it out. You know, that's the goal.
You talked about the pride you took in representing your hometown. Local player Kennedy Chandler, number one point guard in the nation, recently committed to the University of Tennessee. I'm sure I'm sure you know him. I'm sure you're probably one of his mentors. What do you think is going through his mind right now, with you being a player who, you didn't go to the University of Memphis either? What do you think is going through his head, as being this hometown kid everyone wants to see succeed, but you're going to another school? So what do you think is going through his mind right now?
I'm one of his mentors, but I stayed out of the decision making of the schools. You know, I told him whatever make him comfortable. You know, I think it was everybody wanted to go to Memphis. I think he wanted to go to Memphis, but he wanted to stay in the state, no doubt, to represent the Tennessee. You know, just the state of Tennessee. You know, I really don't know. I didn't talk to him about decision making or after decision making or why he did it. You know, I just told him whatever you think best fits for you. You know, and then you choose, and then everything is up to you. You know, you make the decision on your life, and then you have to deal with it. You know, because it's gonna come back on you anyway. So I wish the best for him. You know, I want him to be successful. I want him to make the NBA, and I'm still being a mentor no matter what.
What was recruiting like for you coming out of high school, Lester? Like, what was that process?
It was really not big for me because I didn't play for 1 year high school basketball. And the reason why I went to UT Martin is because they was the first people to recruit me in high school, and they would still recruit me when I went to junior college. And I went to campus. It wasn't too much to do. And I just felt like this is the school for me because I didn't want no distractions. I didn't want no party school. I just wanted to focus on my school and basketball because school was a little tough for me, you know, back then, you know, trying to get into the books and things like that by yourself. So I had to get a tutor and things like that to help me. So UT Martin was a perfect school for me to look down on my grades and just work out nonstop every day, even when we don't have practice. And it helped me get to the next level.
Your story sounds a lot like John Morant, who played here. You also were a late bloomer, and you said that you stayed loyal to the first school that reached out to you back when you were in high school. What do you think about Ja and the Memphis Grizzlies' direction they're going forward in now? Ja as a player, and have you had a chance to play against him? Were you playing in the pickup games they had going on over the summer?
Of course, yeah. We was playing. We had all the top talent in the city. I know a couple of high school kids. kids, overseas kids, and just like you said, Ja. Oh man, Ja is amazing. He's a superstar in the making. He's a phenomenal athlete, great point guard, great kid. You know, Memphis Grizzlies have a bright future in this young man, and I'm proud. You know, I'm happy because of my hometown. And he's a Memphis Grizzlies guy. You know, grit and grind guy, work hard. You know, blue collar guy. He's going to be great for the organization, I think, for years to come. And I know for sure he's going to be an all-star. You know, and hopefully be an MVP and you know, get them to the playoffs. They was right there, and he got a great season to build on. Hopefully, get the Rookie of the Year. I just think he's just great for the city of Memphis because Ja Morant is here.
Well, Lester, I wasn't invited to any of the scrimmages you guys had. I know some of the media members in town got the special invite. I didn't get one, man. So next time y'all jump it off, I'm gonna have to give you a call because I need to get in there, man. I need to see. It looked like some pretty good basketball y'all were playing, and I love
for sure.
being a part. Yeah. I gotta hit you up.
Sure. Okay, for sure you can hit me up. Yeah, it was great talent there, great competition. It was nobody letting nobody, you know, just score. It was just we was breaking down 1-on-1, like 2-on-2, 3-on-3, 4-on-4 situations before the 5-on-5, and just trying to show the guys how to play from situations, you know, pick and roll, down screens, and things like that. And then we got into 5-on-5, so it wasn't just like a regular league. So we were really trying to teach them what plays to make and things like that when, you know, get trapped and things like that, trying to show the younger guys like Kennedy in high school, Andre Applewhite, Moosey was there, you know, things like that. So that's what me and Javante Holmes was gearing to, you know, things like that.
Well,
go ahead.
I was going to say, somebody, people may not know this about Lester. You may not know this, Anthony. I may be introducing you, but Lester Hudson is the first foreign player to score more than 10,000 points in the Chinese Basketball Association.
Didn't know that.
The highest score in the history of the league. The only foreign player to crack the 10,000 point mark. Lester is truly like a legendary figure in the Chinese leagues and where he's played. What has that been like? There's so many guys that have talked about that league. I talked at length when Marshawn Brooks came over and played for the Grizzlies for a bit, coming straight from China. I talked to him about his experience over there. He was really complimentary of the league and of his experience in China. And there's a lot of people that don't know that much about China, Lester, because obviously what they know is like, COVID and coronavirus and blah, blah, blah. What can you tell folks about playing in China, and what was that like for you?
Oh, man, playing in China is great. It's a great journey for me after I got away from the NBA, you know, and Chinese – the CBA been a great league for me, you know, especially me and my family. I think it's the top league outside of the NBA. If you ask me, you know, with the competition, it's not. You know, everybody think it's not competition. Everybody think I'm playing against short guys. On my team, I'm like the shortest guy. You know, even with Chinese players, all the Chinese players are taller than me, so they'll think I'm just over there bullying everybody. I'm like, no. We have guys that's 6'8", 6'9", 7 feet, 7'1". So it was a great league for me, the competition-wise. Like you said, Marshawn Brooks over there. Sonny Williams, O.J. Mayo is over there now. Andre Blatch played there. There's a lot of great talent.
Steph had his little run there. Yeah,
there's a great talent in China. So it's been great for me and my family. And I'm just trying to be the best foreigner ever in China. So that's my goal right now.
I mean, you're on that. You got to be on that. You got to be very, very high on that list.
2 championships, 2 MVPs.
Yeah. Well, and the thing but how does it for you to see and to tell folks what it's like to live there? You traveled as part of playing for Liaoning. You traveled throughout the whole country. I mean, you went to the regions all over the place. So you know that country inside and out. What can people learn about China from your experience? What did you just in terms of a country and an experience being there? Because a lot of folks here just don't really know what that country is like.
The culture is different for sure. You know, once you get in there and get established and things like that, man, the Chinese people love us. You know, especially basketball players. You know, African American players, people. Period. They just love American people. So the fan base for me is crazy in China, and I think for other players too. You know that we are like they LeBron, they Steph Curry. You know, they James Harden, or they Westbrook, or Chris Paul. You know, Kevin Durant. We are those guys for them. We are the guys they can touch and take pictures with, because they very seldom see the big NBA superstars come to China. You know, it's hard. They come to China, but it's hard to get there and take pictures and things like that with them. So we are like, you know, they NBA superstars in China.
And I imagine when you're walking around in the city, it's kind of hard for you to go unnoticed. You can't. Right. It's probably hard just to go into the restaurant and just hang out and say hi. I imagine you might get some attention.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially with Lao Ning, it was crazy. We couldn't even go to the airports. We couldn't even go to the restaurants. We couldn't go nowhere. We was probably like the lake, like we was like Golden State, you know, in China. we couldn't go nowhere. I couldn't go nowhere. I was going with my family. I couldn't go nowhere. They followed me around the mall, the grocery stores, everywhere. So it's a great feeling at the same time, but it's like overwhelming because you can't really just walk and do what you used to do. You know, a few years ago, like 5 or 6 years ago when I was there, I could walk anywhere by myself. But once I had got to this next level and started winning championships and getting MVPs and getting shoe deals and being on commercials in China, it was just crazy. So, but you know, you gotta be thankful for things like that. You know, so.
Oh, it's phenomenal. And I mean, for folks who don't know, I mean, Lao Ning is like, I mean, there's, I don't know, close to 50 million people that live within that region. I mean, you're talking, these are an enormous amount of folks. It's much, much bigger than our area and all that stuff. So, you know, it's a different thing for sure. Man, I appreciate you getting up early with us.
Oh, yeah, man.
And telling us about that. And really, congratulations on this initiative to help these kids out. It's an excellent thing, and certainly we need it. So thank you so much for that, Lester.
All right, thank you. No problem.
Yeah,
appreciate y'all having me.
Oh, yeah, man.
Great talking to you. Lester Hudson, former Memphis Grizzly, former UT Martin Skyhawk Memphian, and perhaps the greatest ever foreign player in the history of Chinese basketball. The only one to score over 10,000 points. The only foreign player. So take that, Anthony Sain.
Yeah, I don't know if you – yeah, I like those stats, man. I like how you dropped that knowledge. I'm over here struggling to remember what college you went to, and you're dropping meaningful stats.
That's exactly right, man.
I don't know if you've ever seen pro players play against amateurs, like in person.
Yeah.
But I saw Lester playing in the Memphis Athletic Ministry Center on Ball Road.
Yeah.
Playing against regular dudes. He looked like Michael Jordan. Playing against regular dudes, like
I always tell people, you don't understand
how good these guys are. Yep.
No, you don't understand how good the elite players are, because you watch them play against other elite players. That's the only time you ever see them. So it's like watching a race car go against other race cars. Right. Like, oh, that race car might be slow. Right. Well, if you put that race car on the interstate, like it's regular cars, it's going to be 100,000 times faster than everybody else. Yeah, so that's what it's like.
He was playing against other guys who had like D1 experience. You know.
Oh yeah.
Man, he looked like it was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. He's just scored extremely easily.
They play so if it looks like they are playing at like half speed, and they're just killing everybody. Like they don't even look like they're bothered. It's just like but there's drive by. Like it just they look bored. I remember one of the great bits that I ever saw. I'm gonna take a break. One of the great bits I ever saw. You're familiar with Brian Scalabrine, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, now he's part of the Celtics broadcast team, former Celtic NBA champion at one point. But Scalabrine took a lot of flack because, you know, look at him. Like, he looks like kind of goofy, sort of a dopey-looking white guy sometimes, kind of pasty. Like, all these dudes would call in. He did a radio show, and all these dudes were calling in and claiming that they could beat him. Mm-hmm. So he hosted an open gym one-on-one challenge for these callers that had called in, and they taped it. And so he had 10 dudes. I think it was like 10 dudes. 5 dudes or 10 dudes. I can't remember how much.
Yeah.
But not one of these dudes even scored. These are good players. They didn't even score once on him one-on-one. I mean, it was embarrassing for them. And they thought, oh, Scalabrine. the worst NBA player is a million times better than anybody that you could ever think of at any of your local runs, gyms, LA Fitness, whatever. No. The worst player would kill all of y'all.
Yeah.
And Scalabrine is not the worst player. So he killed it was hilarious to watch these dudes come in with all this confidence and just get absolutely ripped.
Yeah, it
was
crazy.
Great. Mm-hmm. All right, we'll come back. We'll continue. Rod Fisher coming up 9 o'clock. Thanks again to Lester Hudson, Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7.
It's R&R.
Would be the best of all friends. It turned to be LOVE, and I was your man. So you was my lady friend. We spent time.
I see you, Zach.
Found a way to be by your side. Through the
you just gained a lot of points with me, man. I didn't know you were a Dwelle guy, my boy.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of good music.
Yeah.
Good vibing music.
I bet you don't know about Eric Roberson, though.
No
Right.
no idea.
I'll put you on. You will feel the vibe. Yeah, man. Shout out to Lester Hudson who came in the last segment. Doing big things in the city, man. Giving back. He wasn't able to do what he normally does because of the pandemic, but he was still able to to donate to our kids as well as spend time with his family in the middle of,
Absolutely.
Yeah. in the middle of protests and things like that. Shout out to Lester, man. Shout out. But yeah, I'm gonna leave that where is it?
I am too. I don't.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes the reports are, maybe not as accurate as we're breaking news.
Yeah. Will you? Yeah. All of it.
I want you to know how much we're breaking news.
Yeah. You thought you had a gem on your hand too when you came out with that question too, didn't you, P? It's all good though.
Not really. I thought it was good, but yeah, I thought it was an interesting question.
Yeah,
it was way more interesting than I thought. It was way more interesting than I thought.
Oh, okay then.
It turned out way more interesting.
But you know what though? I was told that an NBA player really wanted to protest. Like there were NBA players that wanted to protest, but they thought it wouldn't have been a good idea because they thought they might get targeted by the media or by the police when they go out because people know who they are, and Lester's 6'4", 6'5", so. Just simply because they stand out in the crowd, they kind of.
That's true. It's very hard to. It's hard to just kind of.
Right.
Slide by.
And, right. And the people, and they're like if you're out there, they garner attention and they didn't want to get caught up in anything where it gets escalated. So they were torn about it because they want to go out there, but it's like they know if something goes wrong, that the cops are going to come at them first. So yeah, that kind of stuff happens, man. Yeah, unfortunately, but yeah.
Well, I think it is unfortunate, but I do think that it is quite fascinating to me that you have a whole situation with Lester, and I think it's a great story what he talked about. Sometimes your dream, sometimes the way that you expect life very rarely goes exactly the way that you think it's going to go. And when Lester had his run. Second round pick, Celtics, Cavs. He had a good run with the Cavs. He had those moments with the Grizzlies where you had all these things. He might have thought, okay, you know what, I can stick around, maybe be an NBA player.
Yep.
Life doesn't always work out like that, but he turned that into
being a legend overseas.
I mean, and again, the market in China, man, you're talking about 5 times as many people, basically.
Oh yeah, so you got a shoe deal over there and everything.
I mean, he makes, I'm sure, extremely good money. More than he would have probably ever thought about making over, and has turned into a legend. In that, truly a legend.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's the stuff they say about him is legendary.
And didn't play basketball until the senior year of high school.
So I mean, life.
Right.
If you let it happen, life can take you to some special places.
And of course, basketball changed his life. I don't really know him personally, but I'm sure his path in life was looking different than how it turned out before he decided to knuckle down and play basketball.
There's no question. I'm sure he thought it was a whole different deal.
Right.
But
shout out to Les Hudson, man. Like just one of those unsung heroes in the city. One of those guys who really made it. You talk about guys who just come in, and grind and do what they have to do. Yeah, Lester's one of those guys. Shout out to him for coming on with us today, though.
No question about it. We'll come back and continue here with our friend Rob Fisher.
Yep.
Rolling on.
The Hatchet Man, no more.
Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7.
ain't calling me baby, better say my name. The other day, I would call, you would say, baby, how's your day? But today, it ain't the same. Every other word is a yeah, okay. Could it be that you are at the crib with another lady? If you took it there, first of all, let me say, I am not the one.
Well, it is our number 3 right here.
Yes, sir.
In the Family Leisure Studios, Real Sports Talk, Sports 5696-1877. So brought to you by friends at Acura of Memphis. We're going to talk to Rob Fisher momentarily. You need to start thinking about your plans for lunch and dinner. Now is the time, and I suggest Central Barbecue is the place. One of 4 locations, so somewhere is close to you. And even if you have to drive, 5-10 minutes, it's way worth your drive. Go and do it. You will appreciate it. You will love it. It is so delicious. Pulled pork, spectacular. Ribs, out of this world. Smoked wings, my favorite in the whole city. Chicken, turkey, all the great sides, the mac and cheese, the greens, they're really, really good. And those homemade barbecue chips, if you want to get the barbecue nachos, ask them to substitute their homemade barbecue chips in place of the tortilla chips for a little extra deliciousness right there. Just go ahead and do that, and I think you'll appreciate that very, very much. It's awesome. It's Central Barbecue. You'll love it. Downtown on Summer, you've got the one on Central. That's the original, and then East Memphis as well, right there on Poplar. You cannot miss it. Please go and experience it for yourself. EatCBQ.com. Makes a great gift. Easy. The shipping is wonderful. Wonderful thing to ship to folks, especially around this time with everything that's going on. It's a great thought. Check them out. The Central Barbecue. Spectacular. Now, it's time to talk to the man himself. He's a man now that his season has come to an end, prematurely, perhaps, which means his offseason has returned, perhaps. We'll see if he's back in the yard. We'll see if the hatchet man will return. I don't know. We'll have to ask him about all of that because he has none other than Rob Fisher, who joins us as he does every Wednesday. Fish, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Good, Rob. How you doing, brother?
I asked you first.
I'm doing well. It's a beautiful, beautiful morning. No sunshine, but no rain. So it's and it's nice and cool. So beautiful.
Yeah, the heat is not out. It's a wonderful morning.
Yeah. So might get some yard work in today, or watch the family do yard work. That's kind of what I've been doing.
So are you putting the hat back on?
No official word yet. Still getting over the end of the season. Takes a little time to kind of come. Although it was weird, man. I mean, it felt like it was just like an exhibition, 2 weeks, and then you're done. So it was. It wasn't as bad of an end of the season as like normally the end of the season, as far as like getting past it and just kind of moving on with your life and changing your life, because things were just kind of normal. Just drove to work and did a game and came home, and so it was kind of a weird, looking back on it, a weird couple weeks.
How would you assess the overall season for the Memphis Grizzlies, a season which ended in the play-in game, losing to Portland, and the bubble specifically, a bubble that where the Grizzlies went 2-7 overall?
Well, I mean, I think the bubble was disappointing. The injuries were disappointing. But, I think when you step back and you look at the season overall, it was an overwhelming success. I mean, just completely shattered all expectations of this basketball team this year. And, I think even the most positive people, looked at it and said, hey, we got a superstar in Ja Morant, and it'll be fun to watch him. I think watching him on a daily basis was even much better than I could have envisioned. And to see how good he truly is, and to see how he's a different type player than we've ever had, that was exciting. And to see Jaren's improvement from his first year to his second year, and the anticipation of what he'll be in year 3, and the anticipation of Ja in year 2, and Brandon Clark in year 2, and just how this team grows, it's really exciting. And I think you look back at the season, and it was more exciting than we thought. The change from grit and grind to today's style of basketball, I think at first was weird to watch, but we grew to love it. I mean, quickly, because it's a fun style. So it was fun going to the arena every night, man, and I can't wait. I can't wait till next season, whenever it begins.
And that is an open question at this point. When it begins, the injuries, the way that whole, what do you think? How significant a role do the injuries play in the bubble disappointment?
Well, I think a big role. I mean, Jaren's your second best player, behind Ja, I think, and so to not have him certainly makes a huge, huge difference, especially when you look at the Portland game and how it came down the stretch, and you were that close to getting that game. And, I think the Tyus injury was much bigger than we even thought. I think it affected your rotations, affected players. I think it affected DeAnthony Melton more than anybody. And it just kind of screwed things up, as far as how you wanted to play, how you wanted to run your offense. And Tyus Jones, it does it so, smoothly in that backup role that I think that was a huge injury too. The Justice Winslow one, it was big because it was exciting to think of, no one had tape on this team. You didn't know what they'd look like with Justice Winslow. So that was exciting, but we've never seen him before. So, I don't want to dismiss his injury because I think he could have made a difference, but we don't know. And we never saw him before. So I don't think it was as big of a significant of an injury as the other two.
Rob, there was a lot of talk about the players, how they gained experience being out in the bubble, and they got their bumps and went through their growing pains. Coach Taylor Jenkins went through some of those as well. I
believe Tyler Jenkins is his name.
Man, you made me think I said it wrong. I was like, crap, did I just say that? But yeah, Coach Taylor Jenkins went through his learning curve, as well as Mark Jackson as an announcer, 10 years in the game.
Mark, just getting started. He's a decade plus in.
Yeah.
He's just getting started.
But yeah, what are your thoughts on some of the things that Coach Jenkins may have learned? He gets a lot of criticism for the not challenging calls, and kind of my personal issue was that he kept the same rotations he had during the regular season. He didn't really make any adjustments as far as playing his stars longer, playing his stars together, those type of things. What are some of the things that you think? What's your opinion of his coaching job there? And if there are any things that you think he needs to improve on, what are those things?
Well, I think he did a heck of a job throughout the year. I mean, I think he deserves votes for Coach of the Year for what the team accomplished. To me, I have a very unique and fortunate vantage point of these coaches by being in the huddle,
right,
night in and night out. And to me, the biggest thing for a coach, half the battle, is to know that you have your team's attention, that the guys are paying attention, that the guys are communicating, that it's a give and take both ways. And I think he did a masterful job in the huddle for the Grizzlies this year. I mean, I could critique all the coaches that have come through Memphis and tell you what I think about them, at least in that point of view. And I think Taylor Jenkins was great. I think the team believes in him. He believes in the team. The trust goes both ways. And you hear those things all the time, but when you see it, you truly believe it. And I think that's half the battle. So positive there. As far as his coaching is concerned, I think his coaching is very good. I think you learn in the postseason how things are different. And like the players, I think as a coach you learn from the experiences as well. The thing that maybe surprised me a little bit is you're right about the rotations not really changing too much. You had to change the lineup a little bit because of injuries, but you kind of kept the same guys. You rolled with the same guys, and he went a lot shorter in the postseason, or in the bubble, at least early in the bubble, went a lot shorter with his depth than he did for most of the regular season. And I think that's something that you kind of learn. You go away from guys, you go away from a Josh Jackson who was playing so well in the season before the hiatus. You go away from Gorgie Jang for a couple of games, and it just seemed like it was almost he tried to force shortening the rotation, and a lot of coaches do that this time of year. I don't know if this was the team to shorten the rotation, but who am I to say? I don't know. But I think, you learn from everything. You learn from all the moves you make. You learn from how you talk to your team. You learn from how you motivate your team. You learn from how you do X's and O's. You learn from your rotations. And I think those are all things that he will learn. And he's learned under great people in the past. And it was his first as a head coach in postseason type environment. And I don't know how much better the record should have been with what they were putting on the floor, but I think he'll learn from the experience just like everybody else.
Well, I thought that in particular, it was kind of, he sort of dovetailed a little bit with Dillon Brooks to some extent, where he had some ups and some downs. Taylor Jenkins, I thought, had some fairly significant downs in terms of rotations, in terms of not challenging a couple calls here and there, in terms of not necessarily setting the team up to get off to the best starts and not really getting a feel for the team's energy in a lot of these games. But I think he improved over the course of the bubble, much like Dillon Brooks improved over the course of the bubble. And I think those two things kind of go together, to be quite honest. I think those two things go together. His ability to get the best out of Dillon Brooks, to run the stuff that needs to be run for Dillon, I think really helped the team do better. And so, to me, given the pieces of what he's got, I think it's totally understandable what's going on. And I mean, coaching's hard. Look at what happened to his sensei, Mike Budenholzer, in the yesterday. I mean, got absolutely trounced by the 8 seed in Game 1 of the playoffs. So this coaching stuff is not easy, Fish. I think there's enough to be excited about with Taylor Jenkins, while recognizing that it wasn't perfect.
Well, when you're a head coach in the NBA, and I think you can say this about the worst coaches in the NBA, or guys who have been, and I bring it up basically using the example of Mark Iavaroni, which I unfortunately use a lot for an example. But these guys, they all know basketball. They all know how to draw a play. They all know, X's and O's. Some better than others, but they all know that. Being a head coach, like I said before, half of it is having the players trust in you and having the players believe in you and having the players, have that communication with you and be on your side. That's half of it. But the other half is, you learn. It's plays drawn up out of timeouts. How many of those do you have in your back pocket? Drawing up plays late in game situations. And those are things that I think you improve on as a coach, and the experience of the playoffs, and when to take timeouts, when to challenge calls, when to maybe expand your rotation, when to change up your rotation. All of those things I think are learned things, and it's a matter of who learns them the best and who can make those adjustments and who can adapt. And just from the short time we've seen Taylor Jenkins, I think he's done a really good job of adapting. So, and learning for that matter. And so I have the utmost confidence that it was, everybody has said about the players and this learning experience, I think it was a great learning experience for not only Taylor Jenkins, but the entire coaching staff. I talked to one of the assistant coaches while they were down in the bubble, and he even told me that, despite the poor record, and, he still said the team was confident, the coaches were confident, we believe we're going to go get one of these last couple of games. And he said, but overall, the experience that these guys are going through right now is only going to help them so much better. And he was adamant about it. It wasn't just coach speak. I mean, we're talking off the record. We're just talking on the phone, shoot bull. And he's telling me about, how, the learning experience and what it will mean for the players. And he also mentioned what it means for the coaches as well. He said, this experience is going to be worth so much for this team going forward, and I believe that.
Go ahead.
Rob, the Grizzlies have two guys that are scheduled to be free agents this summer, and Josh Jackson and DeAnthony Melton.
This summer?
Yeah, whatever.
this fall?
This winter, whatever.
Winter?
Good point. Good point, man. How do you think that plays out for those two guys?
Boy, I haven't even really started thinking about free agency, but I think that I don't know. I'll be interested to hear what Zach and what Taylor have to say today about going forward, and what's going to be available free agency wise. Where are the areas that you feel like you really need to zone in on as far as improving and going from there? I mean, I think the Grizzlies, we've seen in the past when they want to keep people, they're able to keep people. They have.
Right.
I mean, I can't think of an example. Maybe James. Well, I don't even remember how he left, but maybe James Posey being a guy that you wanted to keep and ended up going. But other than that, you've been able to hold on to guys that you've wanted to keep. But I think the Grizzlies have also shown they're not going to overpay for guys. I don't think, and I think that's something that's different now going forward. I think it's not a matter of today, and we've got to keep people. It's more a matter of the future, and is it worth it for us to go into the future with contracts with these guys? And so I don't know. I don't know what the plan's going to be. I think that it's time they're going. It looks like they're going to have plenty of time to digest it, plenty of time to figure it out. And do you go forward keeping the same sort of team that you have, or can you tweak it and make moves to make yourself better? And if you can't make yourself better, you hold on to the guys that you got.
Well, and I think they're going to have to do some internal improvement. Obviously, the Justice Winslow situation is going to be the that's going to really affect how things go. We just don't know what that's even going to look like, obviously, because of everything else, and who knows. The other thing I talked about him earlier, Fish. Do you have an ultimate evaluation on Dillon Brooks now that this is all over? Are you rarely have we seen a player that has gone from so bad to so good in such a quick fashion. A guy who at his best embodies so much of what Grizzly fans love. Fearlessness, aggression, getting after it, playing hard defense, attitude, talking smack. And then at his worst is just an abomination of a player taking terrible shots and making dumb fouls and costing teams games. What have we settled on an opinion on Dillon Brooks?
I don't know. My opinion on Dillon Brooks is basically he is what he is. I mean, I think we will get to a point where we'll start using the term Dillon being Dillon.
I think that we're already there. I think, yeah.
Because I think when Dillon, was getting the criticism, heavy criticism early in the bubble, and I mean he had some really bad games, but how much different of a Dillon was it really? I mean, we've seen games like that from Dillon. We've seen the shooting performances where we say he can't shoot it 20 times. And then he comes back and he shoots it 20 times and scores 30 points. And you're like, yeah, and the Grizzlies win.
Right.
So, I mean, I think obviously is the series when better Dillon, good Dillon, is when Dillon gets going driving to the basket and isn't just a three-point shooter. Now, I think there were a lot of times, okay, every time I could talk something good and maybe give an excuse for Dillon, you could always counter with something bad, like taking a three with 22 on the shot clock.
Yep.
With two guys around him and Grayson wide open in the corner.
And airballing a pull-up three.
Right. You could say that, but when Dillon's driving to the basket, getting some easy buckets, and then he's to me, it's all about when Ja's in control of the offense. When Ja's running the offense, when Ja's a threat at the basket, when Ja's going well in the first half, I think it just makes it so much easier for Dillon Brooks, and that can make Dillon have big games. When Ja's more deferential to people and shot clocks are winding down and it's not Ja attacking the basket, then Dillon starts taking bad shots and Dillon's trying to hit hero shots, and all of a sudden everything's out of whack and he has a bad game, and we're wondering what's wrong with Dillon. I just think Dillon's Dillon. If you give Dillon the opportunity and you give him the chance to be the guy early on, he's going to take it. He's not going to be scared to shoot ever. I mean, I love the confidence in Dillon. I love for the most part on most nights. His defense isn't affected by his offense on most nights.
Most nights. Most of the time. There's a few frustration fouls that'll sneak in.
Sure,
but
absolutely.
But for the most part,
it doesn't affect his defense, and that's really what he is. And people will say, "Well, Dillon needs to learn his role." Well, sometimes his role is a scorer. Sometimes his role is, a third option scoring. But I think sometimes he's forced into being the scorer guy, and when he's not going, boy, he looks terrible. But I don't think his game really was different. I don't look at those first few games of the bubble and say, "Boy, we've never seen this from Dillon before." I mean, Dillon's done that. Right. So, and on the nights that he's good, the team's really good. So, I don't know. I didn't get as frustrated. I was frustrated, believe me, yelling at my TV like everybody else was. But, you know, I don't get angry because I don't think he did anything out of the ordinary.
Dylan, he reminds me of, like, I'm trying to think of the best example of this in a show or a movie. So, you know, he's like, okay, I'll give you a good example. He's like, do you remember the Roxbury dancers?
Right.
You know, Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan, you know, and they,
right.
What is love? And they're doing that little dance thing, you know. You remember that? Like,
Yes.
It was very popular when it was a sketch, when it was a part of a bigger show. And you had like 5 or 6 minutes of it. And you're like, yeah, okay, this is kind of funny. Yeah, okay, all right, this is kind of cute. Then they tried to make a movie out of it. And it was an absolute disaster. And everyone's like, you know what? I don't want to watch this for 90 minutes. I don't want to see this. What this is? No, this is stupid. What? All those SNL sketches. Dylan Brooks is an SNL sketch. If it's just a sketch, great. It serves its role beautifully. If you try to make a movie out of it,
no,
it is not going to work. Everyone will turn it off and will say it is absolutely terrible. You got to have the right amount of Dylan Brooks, and that's on the Grizzlies. I mean, you know, if the Grizzlies don't surround him with enough talent to keep him in a certain pecking order, he's going to try to play an outsized role, and it's not going to work out very well at all. If he's your, like, mostly third scorer and occasionally having big nights, you're probably okay. If he's your first or second scorer, you're in big trouble, and it's not going to work.
I think the one thing, though, that we could take from Dylan Brooks, he can be a contributor on a contending team.
Yes. Absolutely. I think so.
Because of the way that he can defend and because of the way that he can score. I mean, I think he's a guy that can be a piece for a contending team. I think you're right. He's not your one or two for you to be a contender, but he can definitely be a guy on a contending team. And to me, that's very positive.
Rob, when you look at guys like Jaren, Ja, and Brandon Clark, who are the three main young players on the team, what's something that you would like to see them add to their games over the winter in preparation for next season?
Well, and Jaren, I think it comes back to the rebounding. You'd like for him to be a little more active around the basket, and it's just too many games where it's 1 or 2 rebounds, which is just hard to fathom at times. But how do you work on that? I don't know. But that's something that I'd like for him. And he's talked about it in the past, about something that he really needs to work on and needs to focus on. And, maybe that's something that he can get going with a little bit better. Ja, I don't know, man, just the natural growth. I think we saw in the bubble even natural growth from the beginning of this season to the end of the season. And throughout the course of the season, we saw him change. Early on, he was a guy that thought he could dunk on everybody at the rim, and he did on a lot of people. But he learned his floater a lot better, and learned not to try to challenge Rudy Gobert at the rim because that wasn't going to work. So just his natural growth more than anything. And Brandon Clark, just maybe the 3-pointer even more. He's deadly from the elbow and inside the elbow. And he's good from 3, but maybe even a little bit more from 3, expand the game a little bit more for him. That's something I think that can make him even more lethal than he already is with the efficiency that he shoots at.
Well, we will see. The Grizzlies will talk here in about an hour and a half, do the postseason thing. So they'll run up and down the roster. So lots of Zooming for lots of us, and I'm sure we'll get into all of that. Rob Fisher, always a great pleasure.
Hey, if I could, fellas, just take a second. Shout out and love sent out to Michael Wallace, our friend with Grind City Media, who is I sit next to him on the plane when we travel, and he's one of the most positive people I know, and he's family for all of us who cover the Grizzlies, and he lost his wife in a very short, quick, brave, devastating battle with cancer. She passed away yesterday, and he's got 4 kids, and just if you pray, keep them in your prayers. If you don't, just keep them in your thoughts. Him and his family certainly going through a rough rough time today and going forward. So just love for Michael Wallace and pray for his family.
Yeah, we talked about it at the top of the show, and totally agree. Man, just breaks your heart. Just breaks your heart, man. Mike is such a good guy, and his wife was so lovely, and great family, great kids. Man,
and
cancer is awful.
He's a strong human being, and I know he'll get through this. But man, I mean, everybody that knows him just wants to help as much as we can, and if you can just keep him in your thoughts, I know that'd make him happy and keep him going strong for sure.
No question about it. Thank you for that, Fish, and all the best. We'll talk again soon.
Fellas, always a pleasure, man. We'll talk next week.
Yeah, Rob.
All right.
See you, man.
All right, that's Rob Fisher. Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad he mentioned Mike and his tragedy again. What a man, tough news for him and for all of us. Just awful. So yeah, send prayers, best wishes, thoughts, love, all that stuff, support. He's a special guy and special family, but he's gonna need a lot of arms and a lot of hugs, a lot of love. So we'll send our best to him. When we come back, we're going to talk about a couple of controversies.
Yeah,
you love getting into controversies.
Yeah, I do. Controversial.
We're going to get in a couple controversies.
I'm with it.
Real Sports Star, Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7.
Want to get your
In silence, you're almost exactly what I need. A definite maybe. It's sure to entice my curiosity.
Anthony Bain.
I'm back.
Mr. Wayne.
Yeah, man.
Why are you Anthony Bain here?
Oh no, I just feel like putting this joint on. I feel like we're about to talk about some stuff. Well, I might have to be muzzled like a mad dog.
Like a mad dog. I will not be muzzled.
Yeah, man.
All right. So, controversies.
Unnecessary controversy.
Things happen. You know what I mean? Life is funny, Zane. You have things that occur in your life. Sometimes they're out of your sometimes they're out of your control, and sometimes they're very much in your control.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings us to the case of John Fock or Focky.
Can we say that?
F-O-C-K-E. What else am I supposed to say?
His name is Fock. Oh, Fock. Why did you do it, John?
He was day before yesterday. He was throwing out a little tweet.
Just caught up in a riveting, captivating NBA game.
He's the radio voice of the Charlotte Hornets.
Mm-hmm.
It just started about a year ago. There was some controversy about him getting the job in the first place. But he said sent out a tweet that said, "Shot making in this Jazz Nuggets game is awesome. Murray and Mitchell going back and forth. What a game!" Except he didn't say Nuggets. He somehow threw in a different N-word with 2 G's.
That rhymes with figures.
Yes. And so he just kind of popped that tweet right out there.
Yeah, just sent it out.
Okay. And he then issued an apology. Said, earlier today I made a horrific error.
Horrific!
While attempting to tweet about the Denver-Utah game. I don't know how I mistyped.
I see he went Denver-Utah instead of Jazz.
Probably a good idea. Just stay away from that Denver nickname. I had no intent. They're the Denver basketball team to him from now on.
Yeah.
No intention of ever using that word. I take full responsibility for my actions. I've been sick to my stomach about it ever since. I'm truly sorry that this happened, and I apologize to those I offended.
But I was sick to my stomach too,
He was been suspended indefinitely for the record after using the racial slur.
Mm-hmm.
And the Charlotte Hornets are investigating the matter
How do you
more closely.
What does that mean? Make him pull up his contacts. Make him
pull up the history of all this.
His text history.
That's right.
Let's see here. But yeah, I'm not buying it, John Fock. Not buying it at all. And I had people come at me saying, if you do this, if you hyphenate it, no. I did everything.
Wait.
I did all of those. Somebody said if you hyphenate a word, I'm like, do you realize that's not helping your case? Because if you're saying that if the autocorrect didn't kick in, that means he literally typed out that whole word. Like so not you're killing his whole argument when you say that when you hyphenate the words, it autocorrect doesn't kick in. Okay, you're making it worse for the guy by saying that. But yeah, there's some mistakes you just can't make, man. Like I said yesterday, I tried to type in Pelicans and it came out as poverty-ass franchise. So, I mean, those things happen. I get that.
Yeah, I typed in Smoke Show on Zach's account and came up with Shirley Hemphill. I mean, who knows?
Right.
Who knows?
I didn't get that.
Weird things happen. It just depends on where you what you've been doing on your phone.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's really the thing is. Now, somebody brought up the point. I don't know whether the hyphen, Jazz hyphen, Nuggets got me nervous about saying.
Right, scared to say Nuggets. Denver basketball team.
Whether the hyphen affects it, I don't think that would matter so much.
Mm-hmm.
It is true that whatever autocorrect is
it's based on the algorithm.
It's predictive. It's predictive, and it's depending on what you have been typing. If you type a lot of profanity, then it
will let profanity.
I type, then not only will it let profanity go through, but it will also encourage you. Like if it'll change something to a profanity if you use enough profanity, which can, occasionally get you into trouble too if you've got autocorrect on your phone. So, I've used a 12-letter profanity, starting with mother a few times, and I've occasionally had a text that started something about mother, switched to that, and I had to be careful.
Go back and clean it up.
I had to go back and correct it. Like always, double check before you just start firing off a tweet each time.
I was getting ready to say that. It's like you should take Peter Edmonston's advice. Always double check before you tweet.
Yes, I mean there is absolutely no issue whatsoever with like double checking, triple checking. There's no reason that you have to. Nothing needs to be tweeted that fast that you just the shot making in this game, especially that is just like a whatever. Like
it was just
like I got to just fire that off. Like just look. The old saying, measure twice, cut once. Check twice, tweet once. That's what I always say.
Right. Then there was a guy that was like, well, I typed Nigge. I said, you just want to type the word out, man. Just go ahead and type it. Like, you just keep playing around with it, man. Like stop it, man. Here's the thing. Like, this dude, John Falk, he's lying. And anyone who's defending him is full of crap, man. Like, and the more I think about it, the more I realize, like, bro, you may not consider yourself racist, but you've used that word for something in your phone.
Mm-hmm.
For something. And more than likely, the way that autocorrect works, you probably have somebody in your name that's what you got their name saved as or as a contact. That's the number one way to get something to auto type in your phone or whatever. But yeah, I'm not buying it, man. I'm just not buying it. And some guy came to me yesterday like, why am I trying to make this racial? Like, what do you want me to make it into, bro? Like,
wow. I think he made it racial. He made it pretty racial. You throw that word in there, and that's gonna make it. That's gonna automatically.
Because I'm not
racial.
buying it. I'm just not buying it.
This is not racial. It's not a racial conversation.
And if your phone auto-corrected it to that, like, that's because you've been using that word, man. It's just pretty much.
Oh no, I tried to replicate the situation, and you cannot replicate it unless you actually I got to the last letter. And it still didn't. It didn't suggest that word for me. It suggested bigger. It suggested nights. It suggested night. It didn't suggest the slur at all. So I don't think you. I mean, your phone is actively trying to get you not to do it.
Trying to talk you out of that word. It's trying to help you, John.
It's trying. You just listen to it. It won't. You cannot do it unless you have been typing that before. Much like the theory, and we've talked about this before. Here's the deal. Like, if you slip up, some people quote unquote slip up and say, you hear a story about that once every few weeks. Like, some broadcaster said the N-word, or some broadcaster said some other slur. It's remarkable how easy it is not to use racial slurs if you never use them at all. It's amazing, like how it just doesn't happen. Like if you just don't make them part of your vocabulary in general, they don't come out of your mouth.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it works.
Now, if you do, then I guess you probably you run that risk. But chances are, if somebody says something like that, even in a slip up, it's probably because it's in some way part of their vocabulary.
Right.
And they should probably do some looking what's really going on there.
Right. Calling a politician Pocahontas. I mean, that says in you, it ain't gonna come out.
Yeah. I mean, people. There's that controversy, the guy that said Martin Luther King, but he said some other word that sounds like that. And I was like, well, how did you even?
Yeah.
Like, you don't say that stuff unless it's in your heart somewhere.
To say.
So
Gabe,
I don't know what's going on.
Told me to get off my effing phone.
Exactly.
It was in there.
It was in his heart. That was in his heart. That was in his soul. He had to let that out.
Yeah, man.
So I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying the guy's career should be over. I don't know. I mean, that's all. It's up to people to decide. I don't know. It's just not acceptable, man. And we just can't. You can't allow that stuff to happen, especially. I mean, it's bad enough in any situation. In any situation, but in a sport where you are surrounded by, and your whole job is talking about and being funded by, and supported by a majority black group, you really can't do it then. I mean, it's bad enough in any situation. It's especially bad there. So I don't know, man. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah,
that one's
man.
baffling. That one's a shocker.
You said you had another controversy as well.
Oh, listen, we got tons. We'll have to. We may have to come back on this one. I don't because we gotta. But yes, another controversy, the Masai Ujiri situation.
Oh yeah, I saw that one as well. I did want to talk about it.
That's another one. That's quite something.
It's gonna get me stirred up, Peter. I'm gonna have to put the mask on and get my music going. Right?
We'll have to do that when we come back. Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7.
Check out by Acura of Memphis. Now, back to Peter and Anthony.
Somebody tell me the answers. Me and you isn't the answer. That'll change that. What good would it be?
Zach,
I knew how you felt about me.
You're gaining Insane's estimation here.
We got the little soul vibe going, little neo soul vibe.
Neo soul.
All right, man. You keep playing around, playing all that kind of music, man. You gonna mess around. Want to succumb to the flesh, man.
No.
Keep playing around.
No, this is
exactly right.
This is all man. Good. Like the nice little beat, the vibe right. to it. Like, yeah.
It's a nice little beat.
Yeah. It gives you some inspiration to do some things.
Do some things.
Do some things.
Just sit down and chill, man.
Netflix and chill. Yeah. Fire Stick and some other stuff.
Roku and.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
Amazon Prime and.
Yep. We got a new one, man. DoorDash.
Something else.
We got another one, DoorDash and something else. That's a new one.
Wait, they do that?
Yeah, we DoorDashing and.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Something around.
All right, so you want to go ahead and hit the you want to hit your mask here while you
man, it's gonna be a little mini rant, a little mini situation since we're about to wrap up, man.
We talked about the other controversy. This is one that's from a couple of years ago, but it's kind of back because there's some new footage that's been released. If you remember, Toronto Raptors president of basketball operations Masai Ujiri last year in the NBA Finals, Game 6, the Raptors had just won, and he was trying to work his way onto the court area, which of course he's entitled to do as the president of basketball operations of the Toronto Raptors. He did not have his credential visible, but he was trying to show his credential. He was trying to pull it out with an officer, but an officer by the name of Alan Strickland grabbed Ujiri by the suit and shoved him, told him to back the F up as Ujiri was attempting to show his team credential. Then Ujiri's like, what are you doing? Like, I'm trying to get my... And then Ujiri held out his credential again. Strickland shoved Ujiri a second time, and then Ujiri shoved Strickland back. Then he was, at this point, sued. He was arrested, and he was charged with violating the peace, disturbing the police, attempting to attack an officer. Something. The sheriff initially requested that he be charged with battery of a peace officer, claiming that Ujiri struck his jaw and shoulder. Eventually, the DA's office declined to press any charges after an investigation. But then the officer tried to file a lawsuit against Masai Ujiri, and as a result of this, in that lawsuit, this is the reason that this is coming up, because the body camera footage that this officer had has now been released. And you can very clearly see from his perspective exactly what happened, and it's very obvious that Ujiri didn't do anything that he talked about. That this guy was by far and away the aggressor.
Yeah.
And it's a ridiculous situation, and there's no question that there's some significant problem here. And if you look at the DA, or if you look at the sheriff, and you look at some of the things that he supports and what he's all about, there's certainly some reason to contend that racial motivations would be part of this whole thing. I think we all suspected it, because everyone that's ever talked about Masai Ujiri's talked about what a classy, nice guy he is, and he would not strike you as the kind of guy that would randomly pop an officer trying to get onto the court. It didn't even make any sense. Now you can see why. Disgraceful situation.
Yeah, I was gonna joke about this and say cut the music on and everything, but just in all seriousness, it's sad that in 2020 that a millionaire black man who is the president of an NBA team has to go through this kind of crap, man. And then people, you got people who will say that racism isn't real. It's a socialist agenda. Man, this has nothing to do with politics. I mean, like, if you're one of those dudes, you're just a weirdo, man. Just, go seek some help, seek some prayer, or whatever, counseling, whatever you need to do. When you look at something like this, the man clearly, he's clearly got the lanyard around his neck that everyone else has on. that should have been recognized by the security guard. He pulls out the actual credential, and he's getting treated like he's a nobody. If anything, there's a black man walking up on you with a suit on, so you assume he's somebody. You know what I mean? Like you know, he's not a fan. You know he's not a fan just coming to the game, with a $2,000 suit on. You know what I mean? He looks like he's somebody. So your common sense should make you say, okay, and he's not coming to you aggressively or threatening. You should stop him and ask for his credential. You don't put your hands on the man. And it's insane, bro. It's insane that this happened. I've heard the story before now, but actually sitting here watching the video on repeat on constant loop, he's walking up on the man, taking out his credential, and he's getting handled like he's a nobody. You know what I mean? Like
he's just shoved away, and immediately the officer amps it up instead of saying "Can I help you, sir?" or "Are you sure? Can I see a credential?" It's backed up. Like he's trying to run, like he's been sprinting. He's trying to stop.
Imagine it, man. You put together a NBA World Championship team. Like, this is your celebration, bro. Like, you went out and got Kawhi Leonard. You hired the training staffs and assistant coaches and the coaching staff and all these guys. You put this team together. You built this championship team, and you finally get over the hump and you win that championship. And this is how you've got this going on. And it's definitely probably on his mind even when he's out there, hoisting up his trophy or whatever. It's just ridiculous, man. And it's really sad.
Well, it's on top of that, and then the guy, the officer trying to sue him.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So now Masai Ujiri is countersuing, which is totally understandable based on all of this. In the countersuit, Ujiri claims that he's falsified the encounter, which he did, and obviously the video footage is going to back that up. This guy is. There's a lot of issues in this guy's backstory. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
It's plenty of issues here if you want to dig in a little bit. So I think Ujiri, there's plenty to work with there.
This guy's a millionaire, man, and it just shows you there's no amount of fame, there's no amount of wealth, there's no amount of prestige or position that can make you immune to racism and idiots. So just a friendly reminder of that.
Now to finish up, I thought it was a virtuoso performance yesterday from the NBA on TNT and Charles Barkley, who called Kyle Kuzma Carl Kuzma. He said this is a wild card, Carl Kuzma, and then Shaq's like Kyle Kuzma.
Kyle Kuzma might be the most overrated player in the NBA.
And Carl Kuzma is every bit as bad.
You'll see Grizzly fans who are like, man, we need to go get somebody like Kyle Kuzma. But you hate Dylan Brooks.
You got him. I was going to say, you got him. You got him already.
He's
got him.
the exact same dude, bro. Like the same stuff that drives you crazy about Dylan. He does it with LeBron James and Anthony Davis.
And you think Dylan's got a big ego?
Yeah, man.
Carl Kuzma has got a big
same numbers.
I want to remind Mark Jackson and everybody else, the only dude in broadcasting who can get away with not knowing names is Charles Barkley.
Yeah, he's been doing this for so long.
Barkley that's his shtick.
Right.
Everybody else, be a professional.
Jonas,
Barkley, just keep doing what you do.
You remember he used to do JV? He used to do Valanciunas all the time.
Oh, yeah, Valanges, Valanges.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Shout
absolutely.
out to Charles Barkley, one of the greats of all time.
Oh, one of the greats. Spectacular. But he's the only one who can do it.
He'll tell
no
you
one else can do his shtick. That's
right.
it. That's his thing.
Right.
Everybody else, be a pro, learn people's names. Not that hard.
Unless you're Charles Barkley.
That's what I'm saying. He's the only one. He's exempted. He's good. He can do that because he's been doing it for years, and we're all cool with it. Everybody else,
Mark
do your
Jackson,
job.
get the names right.
Do your job. No one. Mark Jackson is not as liked.
You don't get a pass to call our coach. You know that Dean Tony Melton.
Anthony D. Melton. All right. We got to get out of here. Coming up next, it is Middays. Eli.
Gabe Coon.
Everybody have a great, special, wonderful hump day. We'll talk to you in the morning.